Jalen Watson of the Chiefs, and Kansas City gets the ball back. Play 11 of the drive. Mahomes pumps, fires end zone. It is caught for the touchdown by Tyquan Thornton. Blanketed by Phillips. But somehow Mahomes squeezes it in there, and Thornton with a touchdown for the Chiefs. Mahomes putting it up for grabs again for Thornton. That time he reached around his body to catch it at the one. Thornton, too good. The former Patriot, first and goal inside. Second effort for the touchdown for Kareem Hunt. Almost like he was going to lose the ball, had to stop and able to grab it, get inside that Giants defense, and put the Chiefs up 13.
All right, a Victory Monday right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, and Michael Darcy, The Zone. Heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about. We'll open up the phone lines. Field Yates joins us at 11:30. 913-381-0810 is the phone number to weigh in on the win for the Kansas City Chiefs. What you saw, the takeaways, how you feeling getting ready for the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, 3:25 at Arrowhead Stadium on CBS. Chiefs already 2.5-point dogs in that game. We'll see what happens tonight with the Ravens and the Lions. But Chiefs home underdogs. And, you know, the last time that happened, they lost the game because it was the Eagles. Last couple of times they have been home underdogs. They have lost
two
outright.
times, I think, in Patrick's career, and he's 0 for 2. It's a home dog.
Bills a couple of years ago, Eagles a couple of weeks ago, actually just last week, and now the Ravens. Right now, we'll see what happens tonight. Maybe they'll be, they'll end up being favorites. Who knows? I mean, crazy things happen in the NFL, but. That game comes up tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Again, Field Yates at 11:30. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in the noon hour. Mick Schaefer at 1 o'clock. Learn Funniest Best going on today in the 1 o'clock hour. 913-912-4810. We talk some Kansas City Chiefs today. Certainly, we can get into a number of things and takeaways from that game. We'll also look around the NFL in what happened this weekend, what happened on Sunday, and some developing themes and storylines 3 weeks in now, not just overreaction Monday after week 1 or overreaction to the overreactions after week 2. We start to see some themes developing along the way. The Chargers are 3-0 in the AFC West with 3 wins against AFC West opponents. It's the first time that they have started 3 straight games with wins against divisional opponents since 2009 in which they won the division. The Chargers, actually last time they won the AFC West was when they started just like this. So we'll see what that translates to the rest of the season. Justin Herbert looks pretty good so far this year. Texans are 0-3 this year. Bengals are 2-1, but that looks rough with Jake Browning. Colts somehow are 3-0.
Maybe the best team in football. Indiana Jones is out here looking
crazy. The Packers were world beaters until they lose to the Browns on the road. Packers were going to win the Super Bowl. And the Eagles keep getting lucky in one-score games. So,
the Eagles are just the Chiefs' regular season last year. It's the same thing. Calls that maybe go your way. Or
AJ
no
Brown
calls.
Push off.
Yeah,
tush push.
Maybe a few things that go your way.
Yeah, it happens.
You block a field goal to win the
That
game.
was skill, though. That wasn't luck. Like the Chiefs blocking the Broncos last year was clearly all luck. Had nothing to do with Leo Chanel leading in. That was just skill in that one. That's just the different ways that we can view that. Let's get into the game yesterday. 913-381-0810. Reaction from the game, from the win. It was obviously a win. That was the main mission going into New York, was find a way to win the game no matter what. If it was by 1 point, if it was by 2 points, 10 points, 13 points, whatever it was, you needed to find a way to win. If they covered or didn't cover, just win. It's the Raiders mantra, just win. But also, what happens between the dash? Because we can look at it and go, okay, the mission was to go and win, and they did that. So there are clear positives from your season not being on the brink, getting ready to play the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, and a loss would essentially eliminate you from, pretty close to eliminating you from postseason contention. You need to get to 10 wins to make the postseason. With a 17-game season, every single team except for one that has won 10 games has made the postseason. So as the Chiefs sit 1-2 right now, go 9-5 the rest of the way, you're in the playoffs. That's really the mission. But a loss yesterday and a loss against the Ravens, you would then have to go 10-3 the rest of the way to get to 10 wins to make the play. It would be pretty darn tough to do with the schedule that they have. But that's not the case. Now they've got the Ravens coming in. So they won the game. That's the positive to take away from that. A number of things that we can get into today that I do want to talk about. There are some other positives besides just winning the game. People are wondering, and I have seen them ask, and I think it's a legit question. Montana, Rice, Brady, Moss, Mahomes, Hill, Mahomes, Thornton. People are wondering if Mahomes to Thornton is one of the greatest duos in the history of the sport. Many people are asking that question now. And I do wonder, it's it is remarkable what he's done, though, to start off with this, because he was a big reason why they won that game.
Yeah.
He's a big reason why they were able to come through with a couple of touchdown drives. In fact, 3 different third down conversions to Tyquan Thornton were on the 2 touchdown drives for the Chiefs. Obviously, the 3rd and 3 touchdown to Tyquan Thornton. But the next touchdown drive, they had the 3rd down and 6, in which he had the 21-yard pass that was to Hollywood or to him, whatever, it was to Hollywood, but he caught it. And then 3rd down and 10, the 38-yard catch that's got all the replays and the memes and everything. That's 14 points because Tyquan Thornton came through on 3rd down. Now, Mahomes needs to throw the ball, and he did. Tyquan Thornton catches the ball, and he did. But that's been the connection, that's been the positive that we've seen so far, that it is becoming a true deep threat. There's separation there from Tyquan Thornton. Even the play previous to that he dropped, there was separation, and Mahomes made a pretty good throw there. He didn't come down with the ball. That happens. And more times than not, he is coming down with the ball, especially the very next play when it was a tougher catch, and he made that catch. And so
it was John Baldwin-esque.
Yeah, that's right. Is Tyquan Thornton the next John Baldwin?
Remember when John Baldwin made that one catch, and then it wasn't a catch because there was a penalty, because apparently Juwan Taylor was also back on the Chiefs back then?
That's right. That's right. Long tenured Juwan Taylor. People are wondering if Tyquan Thornton is the next John Bolton. In New England, they were wondering
that catch, though, was very reminiscent of that. I mean,
it was an amazing catch, and they had to come through on 3rd and 10 because right now another storyline from that game is 3 points are not a given with Butker. 1 point is not a given with Butker right now. So you don't make that catch, it's a field goal attempt. Does it go through the uprights? I don't know. Right now, the way that Butker is kicking the ball. So that was a combined 3 plays, combined 3rd and 19. If you take all of those 3rd downs, the 3, the 6, the 10, the different 3rd downs that they have, they were 3rd and 19 total, and he had 62 yards receiving on those 3rd downs and a touchdown. And a half yard away from another touchdown in the game.
And you can make a case, I don't want to say a third, but because now we're really extrapolating if this and this and this, which I think is a little unfair. But that 3rd and 1 play call was one of the best play calls I have seen, which I do want to get into at some point, the first half or second half play calls, because second half felt like, hey, we can't lose this game. We're doing the playoff stuff. We're going to bust out that counter where everyone's going to move right, and then we're going to have Pacheco go left. When have we seen a run in this offense designed like that? But that play call on 3rd and 1 was amazing. Tyquan should have probably got his head around a little quicker, but also Patrick has to put more loft and more air underneath it. Either way, I like the play call. And again, he's looking at Tyquan Thornton on 3rd down. Something to take away from, and this made me believe when Rice and Worthy come back, it's not Hollywood as wide receiver 3, it's Tyquan as wide receiver 3.
Well, it certainly isn't. Yeah, exactly. It's not the guy that I'm not sure what he does on the team right now in Hollywood Brown. I'm not sure what his playing time is going to be, because starting in week 7, if everybody's healthy, Hollywood would be the odd man out when they're going 3 wide receiver sets, because I need to see Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Tyquan Thornton out on the field. I don't need to see Hollywood Brown, although Hollywood was wide open on the 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
And looked him off and threw to what could have been a big gain. It wasn't a big gain. I also thought maybe they were going to go for it on 4th down, and that's why they made the call on 3rd and 1 to do that, because, 3rd and 1, you could just give it to Kareem Hunt, against one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, which I don't know that the Chiefs were aware that the Giants were one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, which is part of a frustration, because we mentioned last week, Matt Nagy said they were breather plays. These running plays from under center, they call them breather plays. so that you can give Patrick Mahomes a little bit of a breather. The first 2 drives resulted in field goals for the Chiefs. They ran 21 plays in those drives. They ran the ball 4 times in 21 plays. Now, I am not advocating to just feed the dude, whether it be Pacheco or Hunt, like it's, Saquon last year or Derrick Henry with the Titans or Larry Johnson circa 2006. Like, I'm not asking for them to just give them the ball over and over and over. But when you go into a game against a team that is one of the worst rushing defenses in the league, and the strength of that team is putting pressure on the quarterback and getting after the passer, it is stubborn, it is hard-headed, it is an inability to adjust, it is devolving and not evolving, and it's calling plays for personnel that isn't on your team. The first half was a game plan for Damian Williams, Tyreek Hill, and 29-year-old Travis Kelce.
Yes.
And Schwartz and Eric Fisher.
Yep.
And eventually, Andy Reid will have to figure out that the personnel that he has is not that. So what's the weakness of the other team? And not just say, Mahomes, go and do everything.
Well,
go and save us again, Patrick.
That's why the second half I was so enthused in the run game.
Yes.
Because that counter, I'm not exaggerating. I don't know the last time we have seen creativity in the run game like that.
I don't know the last time we've seen Pacheco with nobody near him and a couple of blockers out in front, that he doesn't have to try to make somebody miss, which he can't, and he doesn't have to read the hole, which he's not good at doing, that he just simply runs to daylight because that's where the play is supposed to go.
We are freaking out about a 10-yard run.
Right.
I mean, Cam Scatterbu had multiple of those. Tyrone, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the point is, because we have not seen that since Jamal Charles was Damian Williams, but it's been a long time. So there is creativity, and I thought he also did a great job of Brashard Smith not just handing him the ball, but in back-to-back plays. Yeah. One, they gave it to him. What did they do the next time? They faked it, and it was a 8-yard gain.
Yeah. That was and that was sort of my frustration, too, with, Pacheco starting from the third drive on, because Kareem Hunt got the 3 carries in the first 2 drives, and then Remigio got the end around. Those were the 4 handoffs. Those were the 4 plays where they ran the ball. 3 of them where they just gave it to the running back against, again, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Pacheco gained 8, Pacheco gained 6, Pacheco gained 4. That was going into half. Second half, Pacheco gains 3, Pacheco gains 8. Pacheco no gain, tackled by Abdul Carter because Creed Humphrey decided not to block him. That was really odd.
That was not on Pacheco. As much as we can talk about vision, there was nothing he can do in that situation.
Yeah. But then Pacheco 10, Pacheco 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carries for Pacheco. 2 of them did not gain at least 4 yards. And we're not talking about Jonathan Taylor here. Right?
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that we have been frustrated with. That's how mismatched it was with the Chiefs giving the ball to their running backs and letting their offensive line work and eat against a team that is built to stop the pass, because even their defensive line outside of sexy Dexter Lawrence is thinner guys that are there to stop the pass. Brian Burns is a thinner guy. Kayvon Thibodeau is better, but better than what he's been. He's taken a step forward, although going against Jawan Taylor helps. But they are built more to stop the pass.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah, Abdul Carter. And it's like, again, I'm not asking for them to give the ball to Derrick Henry with the Tennessee Titans and have that game plan. But when we talk about putting everything on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders and having Patrick Mahomes be the guy that just does it and does it and does it, 17 of 21 plays in the first 2 drives against the worst run defense being pass plays, it's just hard-headed. And it's frustrating. It really is. I want to see Patrick Mahomes all the time. But right now, you've got to adjust to what your personnel is, and Tyquan is your best receiver on this team. Tyquan Thornton is the best receiver on this team. What's the weakness of the other team? Let your offensive line just get out and be maulers. Let Trey Smith and Creed and Kingsley just block guys and not have the RPOs and the Like, Creed Humphrey let Abdul Carter go, in my opinion, because he probably thought it was an RPO. And how many RPOs does Patrick Mahomes actually hand it off? I'd say roughly 0, it seems like. Because that second down and 10 play to Travis Kelce right before he got into it with Andy Reid that lost 2 yards, that was an RPO. And I know it was an RPO because Creed was heading to the next level.
Yeah.
Creed was heading to the next level to take a linebacker. Do you know who was around Pacheco when you faked the handoff? Nobody. You know who was at the second level past Creed? Nobody.
Yeah.
Creed had one-on-one in open space with nobody there, and Mahomes pulled it and threw to Kelce for -2 yards. Like, stop just saying, Mahomes, it's all on you to figure every single thing out.
Well, in fairness, that is one that he should hand off.
I agree, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
We saw it the second half against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
He doesn't. And so from time to time, just simply take it off his plate and just hand the ball off against a terrible defense. That was one of my main frustrations in that. It was an ugly first half, but I thought it was an ugly first half by some self-induced things, by not just simply saying, we're going to take advantage of what they suck at and do that. Because they really didn't do that at all in the first half. It was a lot of Mahomes trying to pass with an offensive line that is the left side still figuring it out against the defense that can get after the quarterback with 4 different guys, and Juwan Taylor trying to figure out how he can line up legally, not false start, not hold, or not get his ass whipped against a really good defensive line, and you pass the ball. They won the game. They won the game. That is awesome. That's what we started with. We said mission number 1 is to go out and win the game, and they completed mission number 1 of winning the game. Mission number 2 is continuing to progress in the right direction, getting better and executing better, because you've got the Ravens coming up on Sunday afternoon.
And the secondary looked unreal.
Oh, my God.
I think there were actually a lot of positives. I know some people were really negative after this game, and we'll get to some of the negativity, and maybe because I'm a more positive person, so that's the way I tend to lean.
I am too, but it just, last night was really a breaking point frustration of just not.
First half was.
Yeah,
first half
absolutely,
was.
100%.
Kingsley Suamataia, I thought, had his best game as a Chief. And maybe people disagree, and they have a preconceived notion. I thought he may have been the best offensive lineman for the Chiefs yesterday.
I don't remember looking at him and talking good or bad, which is a good thing.
I think there was only one play.
Like, noting like good or bad, it was like he wasn't talked about, which is what an offensive line really is supposed to do, unless it's a good play.
There was only one play that I think has been circulating on Twitter about it, and I'm sitting here going, it's also a little bit on Patrick of how he took that route. He wasn't really blocking anyone because Patrick went to his side, and so Kingsley couldn't move to try and pull, and it was it was a little convoluted of a play, and so I'm like, I don't really put it all on Kingsley. I thought Kingsley had a really nice game, which for me is a positive. Josh Simmons, we saw some growing pains, but this was a really good defensive line, and this was going to be harder for Josh Simmons. You're going up against elite pass rushers who are fresh every single snap, and yeah, he had some struggles, but overall, that's going to happen.
He got beat by Brian Burns. Oh, wait. He got beat by Brian Burns? Cool. You know what? Joe Alt got his ass whipped by Benito a couple times.
Correct.
Joe Alt got his ass whipped by Benito a couple times in the game. So let's acknowledge that Brian Burns is one of the best. It's why the Giants traded for him and paid him. So I expected Josh Simmons to probably lose a couple snaps against Brian Burns. He lost one, and he got a holding call. But you know what? That's a holding call I'll take.
Yes.
Because I'd rather, if Josh Simmons or the offensive line is getting beat, to reach and grab the guy to make sure that guy doesn't hit Patrick Mahomes. I'll take that holding call. Live to fight another day.
Didn't line up wrong. Didn't take back a huge first down run by Patrick because, hey, why not?
But they still got a touchdown on that drive, though. They had first and 10 at the 21 if the penalty wouldn't have happened, they had first and 10 at the 21, and then they got moved back 5 yards. They got a touchdown on that drive, right? Oh wait, they didn't.
Well, to go back to Jason's point,
thanks.
Andy Reid almost goes into a game and wants to do what he wants to do. There was no reason to throw the football as much as they did.
17
the Giants
of the first
gave
21
up
plays.
5.9 yards a carry, and they didn't even try to run the football in the first half. And I want to ask you guys this question. Obviously, Pacheco and Hunt are kind of limited in their skill set at this point. But did you notice that they only gave Brashard Smith the ball in crazy packages where you could literally just hand the ball off and let him use his speed and explosiveness?
I think it was telling that Chris Collinsworth, after the Brashard Smith play to the near side, when it was like that quick pass to Brashard Smith, right? And he picked up like 6-7 yards. I don't remember how many it was. I'd have to go back and look at the notes. But Chris Collinsworth said, we talked to Andy Reid about, you got some guys that maybe can make a difference in the speed, and they brought up Brashard Smith, and he said something like, paraphrasing Andy Reid.
Now here's a guy.
But he paraphrased Andy Reid as if like Andy Reid was just dismissive of it, of like, we got some bigger guys that maybe he was like too small or something. It was an odd sort of way that Chris Collinsworth presented it, but it sounded like Chris Collinsworth was like, hey, you got a guy that maybe can add some juice. And Andy Reid was like, I don't know about that. So that was, I don't know, a little interesting. Let's go to the phone lines, 913-381-0810. Before we take a break, we sneak in a phone call. Phone lines open today, 913-381-0810. Jerry leading us off on this. Hey, you know what? Let's remind everybody, Victory Monday. We look big picture, but we also look the micro along with that as well. Jerry, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
I wanted to say hello again. I haven't talked to you guys since last year, and slow start and everything. I would like to say the best play of the game for me, honestly, was when Tyquan Thornton went for the second pass he got thrown, and when he caught the ball, that arm went up like, check, please.
Great, yes.
And he knew that he caught it. But I'm glad that Chris Jones got him a sack.
Yep.
I was really antsy in the first and second quarter because of what was happening between Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I didn't know what the heck Travis was thinking or doing, and what the hell was Patrick doing, throwing backwards passes like he was. I would give him credit for stripping that ball from the other guy, but it was his screw-up. So I'm glad that he was able to take care of it and cover it. I'm all in for the Chiefs. I think it's going to be all good this year.
Let's hope.
I don't go by those stats where people are saying there's like 11 or 12% chance they'll make it or whatever. We know the Chiefs.
Yep.
We know how it's going to go. And I wanted to say thank you for coming around. And I believe you like Noah Cameron, but I knew that you knew Carter Jensen, and I wanted him to be a Royal too, but you knew him personally. I breathed the same air as Noah Cameron, so I wanted him to be a part of the Royals just as much as you wanted Carter Jensen, and now they're both there, and I hope they're both there for years, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too, Jerry. Absolutely. Thank you for the phone call, 913-381-0810.
Great call.
Noah Cameron and Kevin Appier, now in the record books together forever. The last rookie Royal to win 10 games in his rookie season. Kevin Appier and Noah Cameron.
Wow.
That is awesome. And Carter Jensen just continues to rake. Let's not forget this, by the way. Because it's later in the season and they're out of the playoff hunt, if this would have happened in June or July, let's not forget this the next time we go. Why can't a prospect just come up and continue and just right away just start raking and hit the way that you would want that guy to do, the way that he was throughout the his minor league career? Why does it take Royals prospects so much time to get going? Let's remember this one. And you know what? Carter hit the ground running and was a stud with the bat early on, and including batting leadoff, moving up to the leadoff spot, which I am totally on board with because his at bats are awesome. You called it.
See,
shout out. You mentioned you like to see him at leadoff. I thought maybe as the
you sneaky dog listening in, huh?
Because we said Carter leading off, Bobby batting second, Vinny third,
Michael fourth.
Hopefully,
Salvi,
could be Cags.
Could
fourth.
be Cags
Michael,
eventually.
Salvi, if Michael ends up being the number 5 hitter on this team, if Cags gets it together and is smoking baseballs and bailing them up, and Carter's leading off, that would be because he's athletic. He's not just
Cags could be a Spags guy.
Cags and Spags. There you go. Spags had himself back-to-back weeks. We worried about the defense in week number 1, and Spags said, we're good. Let's all calm down. All right, we're going to get this thing together. But they also have the next real, I think, the biggest test they'll have for a while is Sunday. And you could say maybe the Eagles' offense has been struggling to get things figured out with their new OC. They struggled against the Rams until they got it together. And the Giants had an amazing game against a terrible, terrible Cowboys team. defense specifically. But that's dismissing what we've seen from the defense, and I'm not doing that. They have been really good. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue with your phone calls, 913-381-810-810. I want to get into some texts as well, 913-912-4810. More Zone right after this. All right, man, if you're out there and of a certain age and you're suffering from erectile dysfunction, well, Heartland Men's Health says no need to wait, no need to suffer. Just schedule a consult with them today, and you can be on your path and your way to figuring it out. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, and Michael Darcy. Text says, you haven't even talked about Pacheco turning the wrong way and running backwards yet. I know.
Have you ever watched like kindergarten basketball or first grade basketball? I've
never seen that before.
You get the tip off, and the guy that gets it goes towards his own basket.
Go the wrong way.
That is what it felt like.
I've never seen that. I've never seen a running back start behind, chip, and then after chipping, he's like even with the quarterback, and then he turns towards the goal line and then has to do a full spin around because he's running away from the line of scrimmage towards the goal line, when typically it would be you would just open your shoulders still with your back to the goal line while looking at everybody knows this. Everybody saw it, and it's like I've never seen anything. I don't know that anybody's seen anything like that.
Question.
Answer.
If he catches that, do we also think maybe he goes towards the goal the wrong way?
I don't know.
If he catches it, does he go, oh my gosh, look at all this open field?
Look, Mahomes can't throw the ball backwards a couple times, but can you have a negative rating on Madden? Because I think Pacheco's awareness level would be negative 25 on Madden. Because the one that we're talking about, that he ran the wrong way or turned the wrong way, and then Mahomes had to then get the fumble recovery with his hit on Okereke, or Okereke, I'm not sure.
I always thought it was Okereke.
Okereke,
but
Okereke.
I think it's Okereke.
I like Okereke.
I thought it was Okereke.
I think it's Okereke, according to Chris Collinsworth yesterday. But I was like, I've been calling it.
Fine.
Yeah, the wrong.
I'm just going to call him Okereke. The Madden rating would be minus 25 because on the odd fumble, incomplete pass earlier, it was a lateral, and he picked up the ball and threw it. Pacheco did, because he thought it was a dead ball. You would think that the next time something close like that happens where it might be a lateral, you would say, I'm going to pick this up just in case because this might be a live ball. And instead, the ball bounced, and as you see him, he stops running. He's like, oh, incomplete pass. And until the defense goes and then Pacheco starts running again. You would think after the first one, after it was ruled a fumble and you threw the ball in frustration, that the next time, anything close, you would go and recover it. It is, and this is across the league, this is college, this is NFL. It is beyond frustrating that so many fans are sitting at home watching, and the ball either comes out of the quarterback's hands, he might be hit, and the ball just bounces, and it's bouncing around and nobody goes and picks it up, and a whistle hasn't blown. Or a ball like that, nobody's going and picking it up and a whistle hasn't blown. How are NFL players getting to that level and not realizing that even though the ball went forward, doesn't mean that it's an incomplete pass? Like the hand might have been hit before he's coming forward. We've seen fumbles go forward on passes, and if the whistle hasn't blown, why are we stopping running? And also, as a quick aside, why is that not an incomplete pass by Pacheco or intentional grounding? Because if it's a backwards pass, then it's not an illegal forward pass.
They couldn't review it.
I know, but Chris Collinsworth was saying, well, it's an illegal forward pass. If this is that's an illegal forward pass by Pacheco, so that's going to be like, no, it wouldn't be an illegal forward pass. It would be a legal forward pass.
A flea flicker or a wide receiver pass.
You threw the ball backwards, and then but the call was correct. They called it incomplete on the field. Why did they then need to go back and review and say it was a fumble? Because it was an incomplete pass. So either they can go back.
No, because the first one, if it was a forward or a backwards pass, because then they lost 8 yards, whatever it was from the.
But it was an incomplete pass. Pacheco recovered the fumble and threw it. It was a backwards pass to Pacheco. He picked it up and threw it. That's an incomplete pass.
I get what you're saying. So it should have just been back to the line of scrimmage.
They called it an incomplete pass. And it was an incomplete pass. The difference is it was an incomplete pass by Pacheco. They called it incomplete by Mahomes. Doesn't matter. It was incomplete. They got the call right. They went back and then called it a fumble because they said, oh, well, we called it incomplete with Mahomes.
Yeah, because it could have been intentional grounding because behind the it didn't get back to the line, but you're out to the pocket.
Okay,
I
well,
guess,
then call it intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding, I guess.
Either way, it's the same thing because they got the ball there, lost it down. Either way, it would be the same result if it's intentional. It was just an odd adjudication of the rule.
The whole first half was.
Yes, I mean,
it was.
Yeah. 913-381-0810. Let's bring in Gia to the conversation. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Hey guys, love your show.
Thanks for being a part of it.
I watched a lot of the press conferences when we were 2 weeks down in the hole, and I heard Patrick Mahomes last week in the press conference say that, when he was watching the films, the one thing he thought that would be a difference maker that he could personally do was to trust that new front line. He said, I haven't been trusting them. I've been, running too quick, throwing too quick, and on the films, I was able to see many open opportunities I had that I completely missed because I was rushing it and not trusting the front line. I'm going to do that this week. And that is exactly what he did against the Giants. He stayed in the pocket. He looked for stuff. He hit stuff. And on the Pacheco thing, I get what you're saying, but let's not forget, Mahomes got the ball back.
I know.
I mean, Mahomes has got your back. He's got his own back. He's got the team's back.
Right.
I mean, we're just so darn lucky. That's all I could say, and I'll get off the air and listen to your show some more. Love you guys. See you later. Bye.
Gia, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Great call.
That is awesome. I mean, no doubt. Like, let's play the clip from Patrick if we can. This is clip number 7. So Mahomes 7 on the tackle after the backwards pass ended up in the hands of the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge play. I mean, it was fixing my own mistake. I mean, you don't want to it's hard to take credit for it because you're the reason that it happened. But obviously a big moment because he's about to pick that ball up. And I could see his eyes get big, like he's about to score a touchdown. And that's what you got to finish in this game. You got to compete. You got to love the game. And whenever you make a mistake, you got to still leave it all on the line. And we were able to get that ball back, and the defense got a huge stop for us there at the end of the half, and then we were able to get 3 points. So definitely a momentum swing and making a bad play not as bad.
Yeah, it was a great play by Mahomes after a rough play. Let's play clip number it's clip number 4 for Patrick Mahomes, and I think this goes into one of the questions about that pass and him and him talking and assessing those particular plays. Here's Mahomes.
Yeah, better. We played better together is what we did. Played better together. So we had too many mistakes. One thing here, one thing there. Some of that can be that you're just trying too hard at times, and then some dumb things can happen. And so you've got to really stay on top of that. And everything's about execution on the offense side, but you got to have everybody doing it. And then I've got to make sure I get them in the right position to be able to do those things. So it's a team effort, but everybody has to come together on that. And I thought they did a better job with that.
So Mahomes sounded a lot like Andy Reid there, which is interesting. Michael's like, oh, sorry. It's all good, dude. He's answering phones. He's got a lot of things going on back there. Here's clip number 4, Mahomes, Michael, on the struggles in the second quarter and then some of those backward passes.
Yeah, I mean, I kept throwing the ball backwards. That's not good. So just letting the rush get to me a little bit and then trying to just kind of throw it out, looking to see if the guy's actually in the spot that we got to get to. And so obviously did it once. I knew immediately he was backwards. You could tell I'm running to go recover the ball, even though they blown the whistle. And then secondly, did it again. And it's like, I don't think I've done it maybe ever in my career. So to do it twice in kind of a short span like that, I will say it was a great tackle. I'll pride myself. That was a big time tackle. So I'm not going to try to do that again, but that was we'll throw the ball forward from now on.
But also, like, throwing the ball forward, I get it, But one of the things that he said in there is, getting to where we need to be when he was talking about, throwing the ball there because he expected the running back to be in a certain spot.
Yeah.
And especially on the one where he made the tackle, not the one that was the incomplete pass or the fumble that was / incomplete pass but fumble. As you see him turning to throw, you almost see him stop his arm a little bit because as he sees and he looks, he's like, oh, he's not there.
Correct.
And then because he's so far behind the line, Mahomes almost then takes his arm further and then has to throw it backwards because at that point he's already committed to throwing it to Pacheco. but now Pacheco isn't where he's supposed to be, so now he's got to throw it further backwards to Pacheco because of what we're talking about. Pacheco, for some reason, running back towards the goal line. Before we take a break here in the second segment, let's bring in JT to the conversation, 913-381-0810. JT, go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I just wanted to find out, how many running backs does Mizzou have that are better than any running back on the Chiefs?
Minimum
okay?
two.
I'm not questioning that they have it. I need to know how many. What's that number? I'd
Two.
like you guys to break that down for us.
Two. JT, I think it's two.
it may be three.
It could be three, actually.
It could be three, but Kareem Hunt right now, not Kareem Hunt of old, but Kareem Hunt Kareem Hunt old, right now, and Pacheco right now, I'd say minimum Hardy and Roberts.
So 2.5 is the over under on that.
Over under.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
JT, appreciate it,
Good
man.
call.
It's a great point. Just mark, by the way, just no matter what, just put Hardy down for 100 yards. I didn't play the Hardy prop of 100 yards because it was like
dumb
minus 110 for him to get to 100, and I'm like, South Carolina's a better team. Let's see what he does. It's not going to be minus 110 anymore. Like 100 yards for Ahmad Hardy is not going to be 110. It's going to be higher than that. It's going to be longer odds. You're going to have to get him at like 110 or 120 rushing yards to get something near positive. We'll take a timeout. Come back. More Zone next. Well, it's your season, your shop, because the NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And last night, first time I've ever done this, that I played a last touchdown score. So you can bet that DraftKings, you can do the first touchdown score, you can do anytime touchdown, you can do 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, but you can also do the last touchdown score. And I went ahead and played Kareem Hunt as the last touchdown score. Yes, there's some luck there. But I'm like, you know what? Let me try this. Let me just see if late in the game they're icing it away and they hand it to Kareem Hunt to score like a rushing touchdown. That's the first time I've done that. And I may go 0 for my next 10 by doing that beginner luck. But, there's some other things that you can find there at DraftKings. And if you are not signed up, well, just do it, because new customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5. You get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. At DraftKings, just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issue and see sportsbook.draft.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, and Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Text says, throw it to Pacheco. Well, there's your problem.
Good call.
Text says, same texter, by the way, back-to-back text from this one is pretty good. Says, Andy Reid always seems to want to play 3D chess when the game is actually checkers. Last night it felt like it was a little checkers, right? Just hand it off. Just give it to those guys and let them do their work.
But they know that we're going to hand it off, so what are we going to do?
Yes.
Not hand it off.
Text says, didn't that play look like a Madden glitch when Mahomes ended up with the ball? Kind of.
Yes. What other game was there when the that one, and was it it was an earlier game. Oh, it was Cowboys and Bears. And the Bears, I think it was Stevenson, ripped the ball out of was it Javonte Williams' hand.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that was a Madden glitch. And Patrick did the exact same thing. The difference is that's a bleeping quarterback.
Right. I tweeted out during the Missouri game after Ahmad Hardy jumped, had his back to the end zone, and then somehow landed, turned, and scored. I tweeted out that, and this goes along with the glitch with Mahomes, said, Ahmad Hardy's a cheat code at breaking tackles. If it was a video game, I would have already turned the game off by now. Nope, BS. Done. Not doing it. I mean, nobody can tackle this guy. I'm done. The controller might have gotten tossed while turning the game off if I was playing somebody that was breaking that many tackles when it's like, yeah, no, that's dumb. He jumped up. His back was to the end zone. He landed and turned and scored. I'm out. But yes, Mahomes diving at the football, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they were about a half second away from getting 1st and 10, Mahomes and the Chiefs. Because I thought Okereke had possession. And so if Mahomes goes and rips it back, it's 1st and 10. Because it would have been a change of possession and would have given you a first down instead of 3rd and 18 or whatever it was, when you just, at that point, hand off and kick the ball away. But it was so close to them having possession and Mahomes getting the ball right back, which would have been a great sneaky play by Mahomes. How do we get a fresh set of downs here? What if, and I'm just spitballing here, what if I throw a backwards pass, they pick it up, and then I strip it from them and get the ball back? Now it's 1st and 10. This guy is playing 3D chess when everybody else is playing chutes and ladders.
He's at an extra D. That's 4D.
Yeah. That first half had people drinking 40s. That's for sure. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up later on this hour, 913-381-810 to the phone lines we go. We bring in Andre next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andre, what is on your mind? Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, man, I'm just glad to go ahead and finally get that W in the win column. Looking at the game last night, man, the one thing I was encouraged by was Patrick Mahomes sticking to his word and actually hanging in the pocket a little bit longer and letting the offense work. You know, Patrick Mahomes is probably one of the best in the league at hero ball, but with the cast he's got to work with now, I think it's best for us, man, for him to try to let the offense work for him. It's hard for me to believe that Andy Reid designs an offense that requires his quarterback to do as much running around as Patrick Mahomes do. So I was really encouraged by that. The only thing about Pat staying in the pocket, though, and I know it's kind of a catch-22 and it's kind of tough, it's kind of hard to stay in the pocket when your right tackle every once in a while is getting blown by or he's sitting flat on his ass, you know, in the pass pro. So that part right there is a really tough deal for Pat. You're trying to stay in the pocket. You're trying to let the offense work, but then you got these leaks on your offensive line that puts you in a tough spot. I know on the one throw he got blew up by Dexter Lawrence, but I was really encouraged by Pat doing. I think the offense works much better if he stays in there and kind of goes through his reads. And I think, too, as well, you guys talk about the lateral. You talk about the passes he threw to Kelly that were off target. I think Pat needs to stay tight with his footwork. I think those type of throws will be better, more accurate if he stays in the pocket and really stays tight with his footwork. And that's kind of strange to say with a guy who is a multiple NFL MVP. You got to really stay tight with his fundamentals. Going forward, guys, I think what we got, man, we got a defensive football team. It's not Marty ball, you know, that we had back in the past, but going forward, that's what we got for the next few weeks until we get Rasheed Rice back, till we get Worth back. We just have a defense-dominated football team. The defense is just going to have to carry today for the next few weeks because at the end of the day, we played better, but it still was, 22 points I think it was?
Yep.
Still was a little over 22 points. So that's all we got right now. I think that's all we got coming, you know, going forward till we get more of our guys on the field, man. But anyway, great show, and I'll keep listening, man. You guys have a great day.
Andre, I appreciate it, man. Great call. 913-381-810. Yeah, staying more in the pocket. Patrick Mahomes talked about trusting the offensive line, letting the progressions happen. I thought he did that for the most part in that game. I am not wanting him to take big hits, but I don't remember the last time that he stood there with a rusher bearing down on him and waited and then delivered the ball when somebody was open the way that he got hit by Dexter Lawrence. Again, I'm not asking him to ever do that again.
Yeah.
But it is something that usually it's like, all right, there's somebody, let me get outside. Let me escape, and then I'll find another path to completing this pass. I would rather him not get trucked like that. And to Andre's point, it is also difficult, and this is where I think some bad habits have been formed by Patrick Mahomes in not trusting his pocket that is broken down so often, and that the footwork isn't necessarily there because you don't trust that I can just step forward and release the football without somebody falling into my feet, and also getting outside the pocket and running and maybe leaving a clean pocket, which he did a couple times last night, but that's going to happen. I mean, that ain't going to change overnight. But as he talks about, it's tough to do that when you've got a right tackle that's doing what Juwan Taylor is doing right now.
Well, at least they're accountable.
That's
Remember,
true.
Matt Nagy said they're going to hold him accountable, and he knows he can't do that. So
yeah, it's got to stop. The penalties have to stop. He has now been penalized 7 times this year in 3 weeks. But it's also not just the penalties, because so often it would be, you know, and I talked about this at times last year, that, look, man, if you can just take away the penalties, he's fine at pass blocking. He's fine as a right tackle if you just take away the penalties. Well, you can't, 1. And 2, that hasn't been the case this year. And that's where it becomes a real bigger issue in that 3rd down and 12, Patrick Mahomes scrambles for 14 yards and a first down at the Giants' 21-yard line. Only it's illegal formation, which then becomes 3rd and 17, and they kick a 48-yard field goal. On 3rd and 12, Mahomes throws an incomplete pass because Juwan Taylor immediately got knocked on his ass. Like, there was nothing Mahomes could do. Like, it was immediate, and it's like, well, you throw the ball away. And they missed a 40-yard field goal after that 3rd down and 12 that didn't come through. Is that Juwan Taylor's fault that they missed a 40-yard field goal? No. Would they have definitely gotten the first down had he blocked better? I don't know. Maybe. I would like to see the play develop without an immediate loss at right tackle for a guy that's making that much money. And then 2nd and 6, They went for a quick throw incomplete, and they had to throw it that quickly because Taylor was beat again. Just immediate beat. Now, they scored a touchdown on that drive. That was the touchdown that ended up being the Kareem Hunt 1-yard touchdown after the 38-yard reception by Tyquan Thornton. But that's not just, well, he picked up an illegal formation penalty. That's 3 different plays where he got beat and got beat fast. One of them ended up being a field goal drive that would have been 1st and 10 at the Giants' 21-yard line. Now, I tweeted this out yesterday after the illegal formation. And I'll read the tweet of exactly what I said about Jawaan Taylor and the illegal formation stuff. I said, Taylor has to line up correctly. I mean, figure it out. Also, plenty of tackles throughout the league line up that way. It also looked like he was in the backfield even more on the play after the penalty. Call it every time or don't call it. If it's illegal formation, then throw the flag. He adjusts or he hits the bench. Either is a positive for the Chiefs. So if it was illegal formation on the one that you called on 3rd down and 12, then it was illegal formation on 3rd and 17. So you're picking and choosing. And when you're picking and choosing, it means that Jawaan Taylor isn't necessarily having to adjust. He's just doing what he regularly does and hoping that they don't call it. And they call it from time to time, as in like, well, we're going to call it here. It's a little more egregious than you, but we're not going to call it the next time. Every single time he's in an illegal formation, throw the freaking flag, because either he adjusts or they have to bench him. And I do think there were a number of responses that were like, yeah, I mean, if like one of the guys that I conversed with on Twitter, it's funny. It said if he does that 80 or 90 more times, they're definitely going to bench him, which I do think it's funny. And another one was like, this is the 3rd year they're not benching him, and my response to those are totally get it, understandable, but who could they have replaced him with last year?
Yes,
you paid Jalen Moore to be your left tackle, and Josh Simmons is doing the job of the left tackle. You didn't have an option in years past with Jawaan Taylor to bench him with the issues at right tackle with the penalties. Now you do have an option with Jalen Moore. So he's got to figure it out, or he has to hit the bench. Or Andy Heck needs to coach him up, because it's year 3, and he's still lining up illegal. He's still in illegal formation. It's year 3 with him, with the Chiefs. He's still jumping early. There was a false start in that game that wasn't called. He got away with one. He's not the only one that gets away with those false starts in games. Look at the Eagles in the tush push in the game against the Rams. But still, he's not the only one that gets away with those. But he did have a false start in the game. He did jump early. That was not called. And it was after the illegal formation, maybe the next drive or something like that. But he jumped early. And then Chris Collinsworth pointed it out and was like, a little bit early, but you wouldn't blame him, though, going up against Thibodeau. And it's like, I think that's the point. He's lining up in illegal formation and he's jumping early because he knows he's about to lose. If I line up regular where I'm supposed to, and I don't time the count perfectly, I can't beat this guy.
Yeah.
So I have to find the edge because I'm not good enough right now to win that matchup. It can't happen anymore. And we've said it for 2 years, but they didn't have an answer to the question of, well, then who plays if not him? You know, like Soren does the if not him, then who? They actually have an answer this year. If not him, then who? It's Jalen Moore, who you paid to come in and play tackle. You're paying him a lot of money. If he can't do it either, well, then fire your offensive line coach and find somebody that can coach up the offensive line to be better. To be able to run block, to pass block a little bit better, to line up in a legal formation and to not false start, and to not get your butt whooped quickly when you are lining up legally, or at least it's not called.
Out of 72 qualified tackles, where do you think Jawaan Taylor is at?
75.
65 out of 72.
Yeah, I was exaggerating. But
that's not even, take left and right tackle, that's 64. He's 65th.
Yeah.
What? I mean, again, PFF's not the end-all, be-all.
Well, and also PFF 7 penalties downgrade you a lot because, to the PFF point, you get a holding penalty that essentially ends the drive. It brings you back 10 yards. You got to do a lot as an offensive lineman in a game to make up for that.
I mean, he's worse than Trey Pipkins has been this year. I mean, again, this is not me trying to be mean, but at some point, this is not sustainable.
No.
The Chiefs have prided themselves on very rarely having players at the back end or the bottom end of rosters. Well, right now, Jawan Taylor's that guy. Yeah. Right now on defense, to an extent, Charles Omenihu has been that guy. Isaiah Pacheco has been that guy. The Chiefs have always had, during this run, a ton of depth, and I feel like a lot of times, at worst, their worst player is a middle-of-the-road guy. It's okay, but, he's not great, but he's fine. They're having too many bottom-of-the-roster players right now, and guys that were not supposed to be that. Jawan Taylor's not supposed to be that. Pacheco's not supposed to be that. Right? Charles Omenihu is not supposed to be that.
And just focusing a little bit on the offensive line, too. I think we talked about it last week, but there were a couple of just flat-out missed blocks by Trey Smith in this game, too. I mean, it's 3 weeks where he's had some rough film. I don't know what Creed Humphrey was doing on the running play to Isaiah Pacheco when he was blocking Abdul Carter and then just simply stopped. This text came in a little bit earlier and said, I think Andy has taken the don't judge philosophy to mean don't properly evaluate. I mean, the offensive line is an issue when guys are allowed to continue to do that. And you've got the highest paid center, the highest paid guard, a $20 million right tackle. And those guys have not played up to standard. We focus so much on the left side of the offensive line at Kingsley and Josh Simmons that it's just sort of slipped through the cracks through the first 3 weeks of what the center and the guard are doing, and the center and right guard are doing, that isn't up to the level that it should be for the money that they're making. And Jawan Taylor is an absolute problem on this team. And I don't blame that Mahomes sometimes doesn't trust the offensive line, because it's hard to trust an offensive line that has failed you for the last couple of years.
And that's where it comes to. It's not I'm not saying you have to fire Andy Heck, but I'm saying you have to have some questions, because you keep going back to when was the last guy that's really gotten better? Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley, and they turned into fine players. It wasn't like they turned into superstars. They turned into fine players. Fine players. This is way too talented of an offensive line to be this bad. Whether it's scheme, whether it's coaching, this cannot happen. You have spent too much money in draft capital on it for it to look like this. Again, you're lucky that Josh Simmons looks the part. You're lucky he fell to 31 or 32, I guess, technically, and has been healthy. Because if you didn't have Josh Simmons, oh man. Yeah. What would this offensive line look like without Josh? If this was left tackle of last year, I mean, it would be a disaster right now. There needs to be a conversation about something in regards to this O-line.
Tex says Andy Heck should be on the hot seat. His reputation outweighs his results.
Said it for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, and then Tex as well says about Jawan Taylor. At the minimum, he should be able to stand still correctly. You would think that would be the case. It's bad when they've got a graphic ready to go for the illegal formation for Jawan Taylor for him to be called with one. But again, I have my complaints about how close. 2 years ago, Jawan Taylor and Thursday Night Football against the Lions, Chris Collinsworth, we know what happened that night.
Sure.
It changed the trajectory of Jawan Taylor's career in terms of how he lined up, how he timed the snap count, all of that stuff. The very next week, what happened? He got called for penalty after penalty after penalty, and he got benched. The NFL said that the tush push has to be regulated closely, that they have to then pay more attention, and it has to be done a certain way, and they sent out teach tape to refs across the league for the tush push after last week. And the first tush push by the Eagles was a false start. The first one of the game was a false start, and they didn't call it. They did call the false start on the tush push in the Saints game, though.
Yeah,
they definitely got that one.
Made sure they nailed it.
Yeah, they definitely got it was the Tarkanian line. The NFL's so mad at Kentucky they're going to hammer Cleveland State. The NFL is so upset about the tush push controversy that they're going to get the Saints on that false start.
So mad at North Carolina, we're going to blame Mizzou.
Yeah, Like, the NFL said, Juwan Taylor can't do this, and they threw flag after flag after flag on Juwan Taylor. The NFL said the Eagles can't do this, and they went unpenalized when they had a clear false start. It's just interesting, something to in the back of your mind, I guess, or just, maybe it's not interesting and expected. I'm not really sure. Keith, next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Keith, Sports or Leisure, excuse me, good God, man.
What?
I am so used to only taking calls on Thursdays.
What?
And I'm like, hey, Keith, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Chiefs, I'm guessing? Keith, go right ahead, sir.
Just comment on Juwan Taylor. I was doing a Google search and see that he's 6'5", 330. And the problem with Juwan Taylor is that he's so big, he's so heavy that he can't be mobile enough to fight off the defense. So he has to grab to compensate for his inability of being mobile. So, I mean, maybe if he loses 70, 80 pounds, he could be more mobile. But until he brings his weight down to be more mobile, he's going to keep grabbing these defensive players.
Yeah, I just, like, I want him to line up correctly. You know what I mean? Like, they're focusing on him so closely, Keith. Like, just you've got to move a little bit further towards the line of scrimmage. Like, you just have to do that. You can't have an illegal formation bring back any particular play for just 5 yards because you're a few inches away from lining up correctly.
It's an interesting thought, but what's funny is when he came to Kansas City, the thought was he's a big guy, but he's very mobile. Like, it was almost the opposite of Orlando Brown Jr., right, where the thought was he was too big to be quick and he couldn't drop back fast enough for speed rushers, right?
Yeah.
Well, Juwan Taylor is supposed to actually be the opposite of that. He's supposed to be a big guy who is quick, might not be able to use that size in a power role, but you're right. He's not been as quick as we'd like to see from him. And I don't know about losing weight necessarily. 'Cause he doesn't look fat to me. He looks slow. You're right. He doesn't get back quick enough without false starting.
Yeah, and doesn't trust himself to do that, Keith. So
thank you.
Hey, Keith, I appreciate the phone call, man. 913-381-810. Maybe also, like we're talking about that. Well, he had that knee injury last year. He's had to have the knee drained multiple times. Okay, so if he's lost his athleticism and his ability to move around with defensive linemen because of the knee, he's not good enough to then say, well, 70% of Juwan Taylor is better than what you have. Maybe the last couple of years you could have said that. But you can't pay Jalen Moore the money that you paid him and then say 70% of Juwan Taylor is better than 100% of Jalen Moore.
90% of Willie Roaf is a Hall of Famer, right?
That's 100%. 90% of Willie Roaf is 100% better than Juwan Taylor.
70% of Willie Roaf is probably a Hall of Famer too. But
what number do we get to?
Yeah.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will hang out and talk with Field Yates coming up on the other side of the break. More Zone right after this.
He'll help you fantasy focus while he scoops the news. He's on TV more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you on this Monday edition of the show. Victory Monday for the Kansas City Chiefs. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid an hour from now. Mick Shea from the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best, all that's still to come. Right now, let's talk about the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, with our NFL insider from ESPN. It is Field Yates joining us here in the zone. Field, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
Jason, I am doing well. Hope the same to you. It is Victory Monday by definition. Maybe feels a little bit different than a typical Victory Monday. That being said, at the end of the year, playoff seedings are not counted by how you get to your wins, but how many wins you actually come up with.
Yes, they won the game. It was mission number one for the Chiefs. Find a way to win the game no matter what. If it's by 1 point, if it's by 13 points, just simply win the game. That was obviously the first part of it. The second part is, okay, now what happened between the dash? We know it's 22-9, but that dash tells a long story for what took place in the game. They are 1-2 now. They got the win. Field, your reaction and takeaway from what was an admitted by the Chiefs and Andy Reid ugly first half to a better execution for the Chiefs second half and win number one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with no reaction, Jason, because I expected them to take care of business on Sunday night. This team has proven so much over the past decade, but especially over the last 6 seasons with 5 Super Bowl appearances, that I'm not going to make too many judgments based off of what takes place on Sunday night, week 3, against an undermanned Giants team. There were some signs of improvement offensively. I wouldn't go as far as saying this offense feels like it's been fixed or anywhere close to that. Back-to-back weeks of strong contributions from Tyquan Thornton. Isaiah Pacheco was a little bit more efficient as a runner. Kareem Hunt found the end zone. They each had 10 carries. There were a couple of things that were good. Defensively, they were once again very buttoned up. I thought the defense played a championship-level effort in week 2 against the Eagles. An important win because 0-3 historically tells you it's probably going to be a non-playoff season. I'll feel a lot better about whatever my opinion is of the Chiefs by this time next week after a home game against a Baltimore Ravens team that even if they lose tonight, I do think the Ravens are a much more accurate test of where the Chiefs stack in the AFC.
Yeah, they have played so far 3 games, and the one win came against a team that does not have a win yet, and their 2 losses came against teams that are combined 6-0. So, not necessarily a surprise in that they're sitting 1-2, but the Chiefs have been the team traditionally that would be taking care of or winning those games against teams that are their peers. They did it a lot last year. Except for the Bills in the regular season. They just don't beat the Bills.
Right. I mean, they had 2 losses all of last year, right?
Yes,
so it's
right.
this is new territory, and they're probably going to have more than 2, and that's just, it's hard to go 14 straight following a 1-2 start. But yes, it's I'm not trying to just dismiss the fact that the game was played last night, but for a team whose bar is much different than probably every other team in the NFL, we don't measure them by what takes place in games where they should hold serve and they end up winning by 13.
Field Yates is our guest. How much better can the offense get? This has been a debate around here and kind of a discussion of how much do you preach patience and how much do we look at it realistically and go, I mean, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy will help, but on offense, there's some other issues that, I don't think that's just the magic elixir that's going to solve all the problems. How much from your perspective, what we're seeing offensively for this Chiefs team is a patience, and Xavier Worthy hopefully is back against the Ravens, and they are 3 games away from getting Rashee Rice back and maybe a better judge of what this offense is or can be when those guys are on the field?
Yeah, I definitely want to reserve my final judgment about this offense until both of those players are playing. And I'm going to also state that that's assuming that Xavier Worthy comes back and is close to what we expect Xavier Worthy to be. This is not a guy who's playing but is, highly ineffective because of a very serious shoulder injury that he suffered back in week 1. There are some things that can be cleaned up. There are, the tackles are both just far too penalty prone right now. In the case of Josh Simmons, I think that can change. He's a rookie. He's still kind of getting his feet underneath him with Jawan Taylor. It is what it is. I do have some concerns that even when the two receivers are back, that the Chiefs are going to be one-dimensional because the running game, to me, feels mostly effective to keep the defense or give the defense a little bit of a rest, as opposed to a running game that really stresses opposing teams. Not that you need to have a dominant rushing attack to win at a high level in the NFL, but just being multidimensional in offense can go a long way. The only other caveat that I would state about reserving judgment is that we know the earliest we'll see Rashee Rice is Week 7. As you mentioned, I think there's at least a chance we see Xavier Worthy this upcoming Sunday against Baltimore. But Week 7, when we're kind of expecting both those guys to look like themselves, who knows what the standings look like in the division, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a chance that the Chargers are more than 2 games up at that point. So this is different than prior years where not only have the Chiefs been unbelievably dominant, but there's been no threats that feel as real as the Chargers feel just 3 games into the season, right? It does feel like the Chiefs' road ahead of them in the division is more difficult. Obviously, they have already lost once to the Chargers, and while the Broncos are 1-2, as are the Raiders, it feels like even those 2 teams are a little bit stronger tests, especially in the case of the Broncos, than a lot of what the Chiefs have seen in the AFC West for the past half dozen years.
Yeah, it's an interesting start, and the Chargers are 3-0 and all 3 wins against AFC West teams. And Chiefs sitting 1-2, and they got the Ravens coming to town on Sunday. Ravens and Lions coming up tonight. I wanted to get your thoughts on one of the bright spots and the positives of this Chiefs offense so far through the first 3 weeks, and that is somehow the emergence of Tyquan Thornton as a real weapon for this particular team. I mean, the guy has more yards and catches this season so far than any season of his career. He has a touchdown last night, almost 2 touchdowns, has the great 38-yard catch. He and Mahomes seem to be hooking up, or at least Mahomes looking his way a number of times. What do you make of the story of Tyquan Thornton? Is it it just didn't click in New England and, offensive, play calling philosophy, quarterback, and this is a guy that could have been this, in a different situation? Or is there something the Chiefs have sort of tapped into and unlocked with Tyquan Thornton that other teams may not have been able to?
Yeah, probably a little bit of both there. He was overdrafted in New England. He ended up going in the 2nd round. I want to say it was 51st overall or somewhere in that neighborhood. A player who I think probably was a more likely, maybe like later 3rd round or even 4th round pick. Blazing speed, as we have seen on display on a couple of occasions, especially on these long shots. It stinks for a player who underperforms, who's got some pedigree, and every 2nd round pick has some level of pedigree. The one thing I would say is that it usually goes one of 2 ways for the guys that flame, is that they either never make it in the NFL whatsoever, or they realize they have to kind of shapeshift and just be a guy who can contribute, even if it's not contributing, at a dominant level, which I'm sure Tyquan Thornton probably thought he could become a great player when he's drafted in the 2nd round. Every 2nd round pick probably aspires to become a longtime starter, but it's a cool story in development, it's a cool story in scouting. I know that most of the time when we're praising general managers and scouting staffs, we're talking about the 1st round picks that they nailed, or a guy that they traded for, a free agent signing who they paid a lot of money to, who proved to be worth it. I've talked to a lot of people who have said, some of our favorite successes are the basically street free agents, which are guys who were cut during the middle of the season or were cut after the season because of salary cap constraints, and you kind of find them on the scrap heap. They don't have much of a market besides the team that signs that player. And I don't think that Tyquan Thornton, who cleared waivers after being waived by the Patriots, had this gigantic amount of suitors. Certainly, it's possible others besides the Chiefs were interested, but it's a cool story for a guy who, despite some of the limitations he has outside of this, like the field stretching is real. The chemistry seems like it's really been there with him and Patrick, and not having as much of both Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and some other injuries, Jalen Royals and the like, during training camp in the early portion of the season seems to have legitimately paid off. And, experience is such an important part when you have a quarterback who has, I think, understandably a high standard of what he wants out of his wide receivers. And it's cool to see that trust built because without him, maybe they're still 1-2, but this offense feels even more desperate if they don't have Tyquan Thornton, which probably wasn't a sentence we were expecting to utter going into week 4 of the NFL season.
No, I mean, last year he's released by the Patriots. He signed to the practice squad, and the Chiefs, used him in scout team. And then Patrick Mahomes said, injuries and health, and at the end of the season, Tyquan would then, from time to time, be over on the Chiefs side. Instead of just scout, and he said, you could tell that he still had some juice when he would throw him the football because of how fast he is. This, to me, is sort of, it's been one of the storylines for Patrick Mahomes since Tyreek Hill was traded and Sammy Watkins moved on, that we see the Chiefs' skill set of receivers outside of Travis Kelce at tight end, and we see what they do with the Chiefs, and then watch them go somewhere else and don't really do anything else. I mean, MVS came in, and he was a guy that was, playoff MVS and had the big game against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game and a big catch against the Ravens the next year on the road. And then he goes somewhere else, and he's just bounced around to different teams. McCole Hardman was on the Chiefs and then left and then got traded for and then caught the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. Juju got a big contract after 2022, and it never really materialized in New England. They released him. Chiefs, bring him back last year, and then Tyquan Thornton is a guy that's released in New England, and now he's, put up more yards in the first 3 games of the season than he did his, career in New England. Is this a testament to Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing? And also, is this sort of an indictment on Rashee Rice injury and all of that stuff, and now Xavier Worthy's injury, an indictment on what's being put around Mahomes since the Tyreek Hill trade of him making do, but should he have to make do as much as he's had to the last 3 weeks or 3 years?
Yeah. Jason, I know we've had this conversation many times throughout our years doing this together where I've called upon my my witnessing and being around the Patriots during this run, their run, I should say. That's the only thing that I think the Chiefs run compares to. And one of the realities, and it caused a lot of angst from fans when things weren't clicking at the highest levels for the team, is that every dollar spent on somebody is one less dollar available to spend on somebody else, right? I get it. People think the salary cap is fake. Breaking news, it's not, right? If it were, then Tyreek Hill would have remained a Chief, and some of the other notable players that have departed, Joe Tooney would still be a Chief, and so on and so forth. I think that what's happening with the Chiefs is, being down 3 of your top 5 receivers. Yeah. I'm going to include Jalen Royals in that mix, even if he's maybe 3 of the top 6. But your 2 top receivers by a long shot certainly impact stuff. But the reality is, the Chiefs are just going to have to make difficult decisions every single year. And sometimes it's going to be taking a little bit of a leap of faith at particular positions, right? I mean, they can't have top tier or top dollar players, I should say, all around the board. And instead, this year we're seeing that it's a little bit more balanced. Obviously, Patrick is paid at the top of the heap, and Trey Smith is paid at the top of the heap, and Creed Humphrey and Travis Kelce, and George Karlaftis now makes $23 million per year, and Chris Jones is the highest paid defensive tackle ever, and Nick Bolton now makes $15 million a year. I know that I'm just listing names now, but the point is that you can't have everybody at the top of the market and not have some spots where you're basically banking on youth or super frugal investments. For the Chiefs, a couple of those spots that are more vulnerable, especially right now with the injuries, are pass catchers. And, Patrick is it's not perfect, right? It's, a couple of plays last night that I know that he made up for one of them in really an amazing fashion. But, those 2 backwards laterals that were fumbles, are kind of mind-numbing plays from Patrick. That being said, the stuff that he does week in and week out is so great that you have a chance basically every single week. Again, you mentioned they've lost to 2 teams that are 3-0. Both of those were one-score games where they were in it late in the contest.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN, our NFL insider. We talked last week on the show after we heard from Matt Nagy on Thursday, the offensive coordinator. He said that, he was asked about runs from under center for Patrick Mahomes, and he said, we call them breather plays, was the terminology they give to him. And I'm like, I feel like there should be more times where you give Mahomes a breather than, just handing off under center, which they don't really do very often. And I thought going into this week, Field, that going up against a team that is as porous against the run as the Giants are, and the Chiefs talking about needing to, run the football better and execute better, that you may see the Chiefs come out and just say, we're going to hand it off to Pacheco or Hunt, and, we're going to take some things off of Mahomes' plate. The first 2 drives, they ran 21 plays, and they handed the ball off 4 times of the 21. One of those was a reverse or an end around to Remigio. So they gave the ball to the running back 3 times out of 21 plays. I mean, is that, Andy, would you like to see from time to time when the advantage is there? Because they ran the ball effectively last night against the Giants. Pacheco had a good, number. Kareem Hunt.
9 for 45.
Yeah. Would you like to see from time to time that, just maybe take some pressure off Patrick Mahomes and not have it to where 17 of the first 21 plays are on his shoulders to figure out RPOs or reading the defense and things like that?
Yes, I mean, I certainly would. The big conundrum is that if you're not running the ball efficiently and you're playing behind the sticks consistently, the team just is not equipped to, convert 3rd and 7s like it has been for so much of this run. Again, until we have both Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice on the field, it's hard to say exactly what this offense looks like. But yeah, it's a conundrum right now. There are very few answers. If there were, I think that we would have had some clarity sooner than still going into Week 4. So it's a complicated one right now. I think that Sunday will be extremely telling. Again, the Ravens could come into that game 1-2, just like the Chiefs. That would not be a surprise to any of us. But the Ravens' best, I believe, is amongst the very best in the NFL.
Agreed.
The Chiefs win on Sunday. Giddy up. The season has a different tenor to it. If they lose, then we're talking about, even if it's in close fashion, there's a real strong chance the Chargers are 4-0 after playing the Giants next weekend. A 3-game deficit in a division is significant. So I think this upcoming game, not to put, can't win or, must win, can't lose. I don't think we're at that level.
No.
It's too early for that with the Chiefs, but it definitely has some gravity to it.
Last one for you. Field Yates is our guest. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Chargers before we let you go. Are they the 3rd best team in the AFC right now from what we've seen for the first 3 weeks? Are they competing maybe to be the 2nd behind the Bills, or maybe the way they played, maybe the first? But where do the Chargers rank in your mind? How serious are they of a contender in the AFC right now?
Yeah, they're the truth, and I think what makes them particularly impressive is 2 things. They lost the highest paid offensive lineman in league history in the preseason, and they still managed to be okay. And they have gotten, until yesterday, not a whole lot out of their first-round pick, Amari Hampton, who was much, much better yesterday, that's for sure. On top of that, I think what's probably the most impressive part about the Chargers is they have totally changed their ways offensively. This was, in many people's eyes, going to be a ground and pound attack under Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman. Instead, Justin Herbert is amongst the most pass-aggressive quarterbacks in the NFL. What I mean by that is in neutral situations, 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3. Those are situations where it's, at least in analytics eyes, just as likely to run or pass. This is a team that's just chucking the ball all over the yard, and Quentin Johnston's had a big breakthrough start again for this team. So they're impressive, they're talented, they have a mentality to them, and they're tested too. I mean, 3 division wins is nothing to shake a stick at.
Yeah, absolutely. Field Yates is our guest from ESPN NFL Insider. Field, enjoy the game tonight. We will talk next Monday, and we'll see if we're talking about a 1-3 Chiefs team or a 2-2 Chiefs team. We'll find out. A huge test coming up for the Chiefs and the Ravens on Sunday. Thank you for the time as always, brother. Enjoy the football.
Right back to you, Jason. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates from ESPN NFL Insider. We acknowledge that it's 1-2. It's a victory Monday. We also look at this team through the prism of, are they good enough to win the Super Bowl? And there is, for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career, I believe, a legit, actual contender in the AFC West in their division that can be on their level as a peer in the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-0 and they beat the Chiefs. So it's kind of hard to be like, the Chargers are better than or Chiefs are better than the Chargers. Or hold off on giving the Chargers their flowers so far. We have 3 weeks of data. And that 3 weeks of data are the Chargers winning their games, going to Vegas and dominating that one, and then winning the way they did against the Broncos. And I think there are some questions certainly about the offensive line for the Chargers, especially when Pipkin struggled and you had your third guard that was playing because you've got a backup that was filling in for Pipkins when he moved, and then that guy then went out. Mekhi Becton left, so you had a third guy that then is playing that spot in the game. And Justin Herbert was pressured a lot in that game against the Broncos. The Broncos' defense is for real, and they've got guys that can put pressure on the quarterback, and they still found a way to win that game. And Justin Herbert had one of the best touchdown throws with, was it Benito or Allen?
Oh, man,
right in his face
that was
to Keenan Allen.
absolutely insane.
From the end zone view behind the offense to see where he was when he threw it, where the ball was placed, where Keenan Allen was. It was ridiculous. And it is a team that we thought, okay, they're going to run the ball, offensive line, power, and they have said, no, we believe Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and we're going to use him and be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and we're going to be one of the better teams in the AFC this year. I think they're top 3 right now, maybe top 2. We'll see what happens with the Ravens tonight. I mean, we might be talking about Bills and Chargers through 3 weeks as, you know, both teams undefeated, and Ravens-Chiefs getting ready to match up in a game of 1 and 2 teams.
And I'll point out, Quentin Johnston's evolution has been huge for them because it went from almost that's a bad first-round pick where I think a lot of us, I know I was like, man, I don't know how you take him first round. The first couple of years of his career did not look good. I've talked with him before, and he's a hard worker and easy guy to root for, so I kind of have a little soft spot for him starting to go into what at least the Chargers thought he was going to be. But then you bring back Keenan Allen, and he looks more or less like the guy who was that guy when he left.
Yep.
It may have just been the Bears being a disaster, ruining him. And now he's no longer the guy. He's a guy. Because they did it without Ladd McConkey having to do hardly anything in that game.
Yep.
So, yeah, Najee Harris going out. I think he's going to miss this season, I think. It was an Achilles injury.
Yep.
We
had some rough injuries yesterday to some running backs. James Conner looks like he's probably done for the season, or maybe most of it, if not all of it.
And this is what I said from the get-go. Everyone kept crowning the Broncos. I still think the Chargers are the second best team in the AFC West by a pretty wide margin. This is why. But you're right. They're starting to try and compete for that number 1 spot.
3 weeks in, I
long
think,
season left.
Right, long season left, but 3 weeks in, I don't think you'd be off base if you said the Chargers look like the best team in the AFC West. I mean, they beat the Chiefs head-to-head. They're 3-0. Chiefs are 1-2. Chiefs are a couple plays away here and there from being 3-0, but they're not.
Yeah.
The Chargers did make the plays. And Justin Herbert looks like he has taken a step forward in that offense with that team and the weapons surrounding him, while, as you mentioned, Broncos being crowned, Bo Nix does not look like he has taken a step forward at all in the first 3 weeks.
Never understood why they just assumed everyone has a sophomore slump. Do people forget?
Well, not everybody, but
most 90% of quarterbacks.
Mahomes' sophomore year was amazing.
Well, you know why? Because he's different. Bo Nix wasn't different.
That's true.
Sorry, C.J. Stroud was. I'm taking crazy pills.
Well, let's take a time out then. More's on next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
At Patriot Heating, AC, and Plumbing, we believe in service with integrity. To our veterans and first responders, thank you. We're proud to offer you special discounts on all Patriot services. For trusted comfort and fair pricing, visit callthepatriot.com.
Insider. Chiefs get the win 22-9. Better to learn from a win. Things you need to improve on. Execution. Things that were lacking in the first half. Second half, much better. Couple of touchdown drives for the Chiefs. But it did feel disjointed at times. The defense for the Chiefs is awesome through the last couple of weeks.
Brian Cook is ranked as the 6th best safety in all of football right now, and that backs up. I think he looks incredible right now.
He has shown up more in games so far the first 3 weeks than I can remember all of last year. You know, he almost had the interception. He had the great tackle on Cam Scattaboo coming from the safety spot. I mean, he's been everywhere. So All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in the next segment. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. Talked to Field Yates in the previous hour. Took a lot of phone calls in the first couple of hours as well, and texts that have come in along the way. Go ahead, Sterling.
I was going to get real quick. I thought this was interesting. College football, so slightly different here, but I just found this a little interesting. It's supposed to come out officially tomorrow, but the sources that are saying the SEC, you know how you're going to have the three
opponents,
the three opponents, Missouri, Arkansas, like we all thought, Oklahoma, I think like we all thought, A&M.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. I'm not all too thrilled about the A&M one. I would have liked to see
South Carolina.
South Carolina with the Columbia Cup, the Mayor's Cup, whatever.
I thought South Carolina made the most sense.
Yeah.
I thought it was either going to be South Carolina. I thought Kentucky because there had been a little bit of something there. But that obviously gives Missouri a pretty big leg up because Arkansas has been buns for so long now. I thought Georgia had a chance of being that third team.
Yeah.
But, Auburn has the brutal one of Alabama, Georgia. And then they're like, okay, we'll give you Vandy at least.
Yeah.
But, yeah, from
A&M, I think, has the most brutal one. It's LSU, Texas, and Missouri. And I'm not saying that just because, Missouri's, had the fourth best record the last 3 years in college football.
Yeah.
Texas is continuing to be Texas, and LSU is LSU. So, A&M over the next 4 years is going to play programs that are up and running. That Texas and Sarkisian, Brian Kelly and LSU, and again, just talked about the fourth best record over the last 3 years is Mizzou in college football. And Eli Drinkwitz seems to have it rolling right now with the talent that they have and the talent they continue to bring in. So I'd be pretty annoyed if I was A&M.
What's funny is A&M and Arkansas have the same three.
Oh yeah,
Arkansas, also LSU, Texas, Missouri.
Interesting. I didn't realize that. I would have liked to seen South Carolina instead of A&M, and you could have changed Georgia to A&M instead of South Carolina. It would have been an easy switch. But then Georgia would have had Auburn, Florida, and A&M. So maybe they looked at it and said, well, it's not really fair. It's a 4-year rotation. So maybe they were looking at it and saying, how do we make it the most fair of what we project these programs to be over the next 4 years?
And it looks like for a lot of these, you'll have it's SEC.
Yeah.
So you're going to have two good teams and one lesser. And again, at this
point,
point,
that could grow to being a good team in 2 years.
And who knows?
It's a transfer portal.
right now, you would say Arkansas is the lesser of the A&M, Oklahoma, Arkansas. It could have been harder. I don't know if it was outside of A&M being South Carolina, if you'd say that'd be easier. But it's fine to me. It just A&M doesn't move the needle. And part of it is, again, as a Missouri guy, maybe this is unfair. They kick the ass of the Tigers. And I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like the history there with Mizzou. And although when they
Oklahoma's not great either necessarily.
Yeah, although they did beat A&M to win the SEC. East
13.
A number of years, 13. Yeah,
I think it was 13.
That was that Black Friday.
Whatever that was. Yeah.
I would have honestly, I would have liked to see Kentucky instead of A&M from a matchup standpoint in terms of. That program is struggling, and Mark Stoops may be fired, and you might be looking at a new coach over the next year or so.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it from a win standpoint. Not necessarily. Like the South Carolina one's great because also Eli's 6-1 against Beamer.
Because Beamer's in his dome right now about it. When he talked about, what was it, Trotter? Well, they paid a lot of money to go get him.
Shut up.
Because South Carolina, you're known as being crying poor and destitute.
You out here crying poor and destitute.
I mean, is there anyone? Yeah, there's a lot of people more unlikable, but he is an unlikable guy. Yes. Where it just feels like
Beamer and Sirianni remind me of the same person for some reason. Like I get the same vibes. Beamer on the sideline feels like so much of a cheerleader and kind of a crap talker. Sirianni certainly is that. But Beamer does a lot more complaining, it feels like, throughout the entire game.
I don't get it either because they act like they're like an FCS school. They're like, oh, the SEC hates us. Yeah. SEC hates us. And then you've been average to slightly above. Like, I don't get the mindset. It feels like they're trying to play victim all the time. It's like, you're a pretty major program. Like, you're South Carolina.
The problem is this is what it comes down to and comes back to is when Mizzou went in the SEC, there was a lot of looking down at Mizzou and like, oh, cool, you got a random Big 12 team joining the SEC. Good luck. And that first year, Missouri went 5-7. And it was like, yeah, welcome to big boy football, right?
Yeah.
And then they won the division the next 2 years. They went into your conference and won the division twice in the first 3 years. And it has bothered people. Like South Carolina, when they were winning against Missouri when they were down, it was like, see, this is showing – Kentucky, the same thing. See, beating Missouri, better program than that random Missouri squad. And now Missouri's back up and running with Eli, and it pisses South Carolina people off because they look down at Mizzou. It pisses Kentucky people off because they look down on Mizzou coming into the SEC. Like, you're ready to play big boy football. And there's a lot of programs in the SEC that, did look down on Mizzou. People made fun of, like, Mizzou. It was like, well, you're talking about Mizzou, but they're not really SEC. They're not really, like, Big 12 fans made fun of Mizzou in the SEC. SEC fans, for whatever reason, decided that they were going to dismiss Mizzou in the SEC. When they went into their conference and then did something in the first 3 years of winning the East back-to-back years that a number of teams in that division never did in their entire history of the SEC. But I think it's part of that where South Carolina fans still view Mizzou as inferior. Kentucky fans view Mizzou as an inferior program, which is absurd to think about.
Yeah.
Because they won 4 out of 5 years or something like that. It was like, oh, they won 4 or 5, 5-1, whatever. I thought you were a better program. If you're a better program, then win the game. Like, difference between yearly outcomes and an actual overall program. But Texas entering the SEC and Oklahoma entering the SEC, I think, was viewed differently by SEC teams for obvious reasons and the historical nature of those programs than when Missouri entered. And even after winning the division a couple of times and being on the cusp against Auburn of playing for a national championship representing the SEC, they're still viewed as the stepchildren of the conference for some reason. So, yeah, I like whipping South Carolina.
Yeah.
Which is why last year, was annoying for a couple of reasons. I like going out and just beating South Carolina because to hell with Shane Beamer and the Gamecock fans and them looking down their nose at certain programs and Missouri being one of them.
Tennessee's the same way, it feels like. Tennessee is one of those.
Tennessee has some history to
it. Yeah, at least they're good. Yeah, at least Tennessee has something to back it up, and you hate to admit it. And Arkansas, they just go, well, wait till we get good again. It's like you've been since Darren McFadden was your running back.
Right.
Like, at some point, you might just not be good.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be good anymore. Like Nebraska. I'm sorry. I know a lot of Nebraska fans, but like, you just might not be good anymore. You might not be that. You're not that guy, pal. Indiana basketball. I have a lot of family. I'm sorry.
Indiana football. They're a football school now.
Yeah, you're a football school now. But in basketball, you just might not be that team anymore. And it happens, and it sucks. I get it. You don't want to let go of the history or that other teams have passed you by. But for a lot of schools, that has happened. And hell, Florida, we're starting to see a little bit of that too, right? I mean, Florida has been inconsistent. They've still had, obviously, a lot of highs. Urban Meyer, that team, I'm sure everyone was high. But you're looking now, and Florida's kind of in the same boat of the perpetual middling 6-6 team.
Yeah. 913-912-4810 is the text line. And so, we'll see moving forward. But it's a 4-year schedule of the 3 and 6, so they're playing 9 games in conference schedule moving forward, and so every 4 years there will be a different 3 opponents that are constant. So 4 years from now, we'll see if the 3 teams are close to the same, or do you completely switch them up and it's 3 new teams so that you can have more games against the entire conference
and travel. But if you have 9 games in conference, you're gonna see a lot of these teams every single year.
Yeah.
Every other year you'll see.
Right. I mean, with the 3 and the 6, then you're going to see a lot of teams over the next couple of years. Over the next 2-3 years, you're going to see those 3 teams, obviously, but then, you're going to see 12 other teams in a 2-year span. So, you're seeing pretty much everybody. 913-912-4810. Do you know who generated the 3rd most pressures last night for the Chiefs? Do you know who generated the first, I would say, if you can guess the most pressures last night generated?
I thought Chris Jones had a decent
Chris Jones was
game.
tied with one other player with the most pressures generated.
Maybe Karlaftis?
Karlaftis. Yep,
yeah,
George Karlaftis.
Those two
they
actually
both had 7. The 3rd highest was 5 pressures generated. And so close to a sack.
Was it Jalen Watson?
Gelati?
Nope.
Because he was close to a sack.
So close to a sack. He jumped and Russell Wilson ducked.
Oh, was that Leo?
Nope. Leo tackled him.
Leo tackled
Russell on that
I couldn't
play.
figure out who jumped, though.
Who jumped was double nickel. Number 55, Omar Norman Lott, with 5 pressures generated last night.
Wow, that's great to see.
And almost back-to-back games with a sack.
Yeah.
He busted free. He tossed the
call.
guard.
That was him jumping?
That was him jumping, and Russell Wilson went underneath him, and Chanel tackled him. Yeah, that was Omar Norman Lott. That's how quickly he got to the backfield. He was quick.
Yes.
And he put his arms up and jumped because Russell, with a good play, the pump fake, but also Leo Chanel was there ready to finish the play up. So Jones 7, Karlaftis 7, and Omar Norman Lott 5 from the interior of the defensive line in pressures last night against Russell Wilson.
I thought the defensive line got better as the game went on. I'm not saying they're there yet. You're paying a lot of money to Karlaftis and Chris Jones, obviously, and you spent some high draft capital, and you brought back a Minahu and all this stuff. But they're looking a little better. Now, I will point out the Giants' offensive line is buns.
It is. They got Andrew Thomas back for most of the game.
And he was a stonewall that when he was in the game. The 25 snaps he had, he was outstanding.
And I'm glad he left and Bo came in.
I would concur with that.
So
but
would Chris Jones.
Again, I want
and whoever else.
I want to I have these cut waters in front of me, so with a grain of salt, you don't need salt for these, but if you want to have a salt with your lime margarita by Cutwater, you can. And so with a grain of salt, I will point out they didn't do it against the Chargers and Trey Pipkins. It's way better to take advantage of a bad offensive line than not take advantage of a bad offensive line. So, again, a lot of things I'd like to see more consistent. Again, getting pressure with 4 will not be great, I don't think, all season long. Even of those 14 pressures between Chris Jones and Karlaftis, I don't know how many of those were real quick wins. It may have been a little bit of a, hey, you got to pressure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the quickest pressure, which, again, is something to keep in mind. But if Omar Norman Lott can start getting more juice up the middle, I want to see how many snaps did he play? I got the snap counts right in front of me.
You got snap counts right in front of you. Clearly, yeah.
He had 22 snaps, so 5 pressures on 22 snaps for Omar Norman Lott.
Okay. And no snaps in game number 1 because he was injured, but game 2 against the Eagles, Omar Norman Lott played 16. So how many did he have?
22.
So he had 6 more snaps in this one than he did the week before.
Ashton Gelati had 37 snaps. Charles Minahu had 38. So you're looking at a Gelati uptick in snaps, and Charles Minahu maybe a little bit on the downturn. But again, no Mike Dana.
Gelati 28 snaps last week.
So 9 more.
Yeah.
Again, no Mike Dana for the entirety of the game, so something to point out.
Yep. Well, also, we talked last week about the blitz rate for Steve Spagnuolo against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Russell Wilson dropped back 37 times. The Chiefs pressured him on 54% of those dropbacks. Do you remember how many blitzes they had by any chance?
Against the Giants?
Against the Giants. Russell Wilson was pressured 54% of the time on his dropbacks with 37 dropbacks in the
37 dropbacks. I will say they sent pressure on 9 of them.
9 of them? What do you think, Michael?
I'll say 13.
Spagnuolo blitzed 6 times last night.
Okay.
Out of 37 dropbacks, and they resulted in 54%
It was not the
pressure
Eagles
rate.
game. It was not the Eagles.
And it allowed them to play defense in the secondary more. They limited Malik Neighbors to 2 catches, 13 yards on 7 targets, and including an interception when he was targeted in the end zone with a one-on-one play with Jalen Watson, who clearly won that rep, was right there with Malik Neighbors, looked back, found the football, and he stopped the way that some wide receivers, when it's underthrown, will stop and get a pass interference.
Yeah.
He stopped so quick that Malik Neighbors couldn't even fight for it.
Yep.
Because Malik Neighbors then took a couple steps and then reached and was like, well, there's nothing I can do. It's intercepted. Like, I think that's an encouraging sign against a bad offensive line, by the way. As we mentioned, they had their troubles. But it's like if you can't generate pressure against that offensive line without blitzing, then you've got some real bigger issues than we even thought earlier. At least they were able to pressure half the time that Wilson dropped back with only blitzing 6 times in the game, and you had 7, 14, 19 pressures generated between Jones, Karlaftis, and Omar Norman Lott.
And again, I thought that the secondary looked incredible all game long. You mentioned Jalen Watson. I don't know if it's because Russell Wilson throws such a high ball, so the moon ball.
The moon ball,
if it allows you to be more aggressive in how you can mirror and try and find the ball, But this was one of the first times where I'm like, this Chiefs defense looks very opportunistic. I think a lot of times recently with Spags defense, not a bad thing, but with their secondary, they focus more on being in your hip pocket and not getting burnt, not getting torched. In this game, it was more or less, we're not getting torched, and we're going to be opportunistic and try and bring the ball down on our side of things. Christian Roland Wallace did a great job in this one as well. I don't know what more you can say on the second. I thought it was a near perfect game from the second. McDuffie had one penalty against him, and that's like the one.
It was close, but
is it the one? Like, I can't really think of a secondary play that was, oh man, that was a mishap, or that was how'd you let that happen? I can't think of a single one, and that is very impressive when you had that many dropbacks.
And I will say that there's been some frustration from Karlaftis in the first couple of weeks, and the money that he signed for certainly. The roughing the passer call last night can't happen.
That cannot happen.
You were late on that one. You can't take the 2 steps and then hit him after he's released the football. But Karlaftis last night had 10 tackles, a sack, 3 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
And also knocked the ball down at the line of scrimmage with a pass defense and hit the quarterback 4 times.
It was a little bit like Trey Smith on the offense, where it's like,
yeah,
you have to be great. Look how much money you're getting paid. It's no longer you're on a rookie deal.
He's had 2 roughing the passer calls in the first 3 games, because it was a touchdown that he got called for roughing against Herbert in week 1. So it didn't matter. This one was a roughing call that was accepted. By the way, that roughing call on Herbert came after he lined up off sides against the Chargers. That extended the drive. That was a 4-point play. It was a 4-point penalty because they were going to kick a field goal, but he lined up off sides. And that gave him a first down, and then they went and scored a touchdown on that. So Karlaftis, those roughing the passer calls have to stop. He's been called for them twice so far in the 3 games. One of those has been accepted, but he played a good game yesterday overall on the defensive line. The defense overall was really good. Some of that is the New York Giants offense, and I think we've sort of discovered that if you need a get-right game, if you need your offense to look good, play the Cowboys. Because the Giants were amazing against the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
The Eagles' offense didn't look all that great against the Cowboys, but they still went out and put points on the board. And then the Bears go out and put 31 points on the board against the Cowboys.
By the way, the eye test backs up Karlaftis in PFF at least. His defensive grade yesterday's game was 90.4, which you know how hard that has to be to get a 90.4 with a penalty like that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, with the roughing the passer penalty. Yeah.
If
he would have just stopped a little bit more, I mean, that might have been like 93 or 94, or maybe higher. I don't know how.
7 pressures, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss. That's going to do it for you.
Yep. It's not bad. Not bad at all. 913-912-4810 is the text line. We'll get to some of the texts that are coming in. By the way, text came in, said Tyquan Thornton is the actual Justin Ross. I mean, only, the different types of players, obviously, that Justin Ross was supposed to be a big-bodied receiver, that Tyquan is a speedster, but the love of Justin Ross has actually resulted in production from Tyquan Thornton.
This is what I thought Richie James was going to be for this offense.
That's right.
This is my Richie James actually coming true.
Yes, that's right. Text says, I've been waiting patiently for us to play the Giants, not because I thought we'd win, but so I could work on my impression of Adam Sandler as a play-by-play analyst. Omina hoo-hoo, tackled, shkadaboo, for a loss.
That's great. By the way, Tyquan Thornton played the most snaps as a wide receiver, so he is wide receiver 1 right now.
There you go.
In fairness, it was close. He played 55, Juju played 50, and Hollywood played 49.
Tex says, so what 3 teams did South Carolina get? They got Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky did South Carolina. So there you go. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Text says, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying the refs are concentrating on Kansas City a lot more penalties this year. Or that last throw that got the Giants down to around the 5-yard line near the end of the game. Giants right tackle moved way before the snap, no call. I thought Juwan Taylor moved before the snap and there was a no call. But to the point, it has been policed a lot more with a microscope on Juwan Taylor.
Sure.
but also adjust from that.
And also he does
Adjust from that. Yes. Right, he does. And it's like they have an illegal formation graphic up last night, right? People have talked about that. It'll continue to get talked about. Like Sunday Night Football, I mean, where it all originated with Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico. But they have an illegal formation graphic that they put up last night. But also, you can look at that graphic, and if we're wanting to be sticklers in terms of how you line up, and will the Chiefs line up in an illegal formation, Juwan Taylor, then let's be sticklers about illegal formation and the fact that the helmet for an offensive lineman cannot be in the neutral zone if it's not the center. The center's helmet is allowed to be in the neutral zone, but the guards are not. Their helmet cannot be in line with any part of the football. And the tush-push, they line up almost in line with the center. Their helmets are in the neutral zone. It's a penalty. If we're going to call illegal formation that close, then let's call illegal formation. Like, that's also part of the frustration, I think, with when you're saying policing that particular play, people are looking at false starts, but also it's an illegal formation. The center can be in the neutral zone, but his helmet cannot be in front of the football. And that's happened from time to time. The guards cannot have a helmet that is down the line touching any part of the football. And that happens on almost every single one of them. So if we really want to police illegal formation, let's police illegal formation across the league in the way that it's supposed to be adjudicated, the way that it's supposed to be officiated. And that, unfortunately hasn't happened. But also Juwan Taylor figured out. Yeah. Figure it out. Line up correctly. It shouldn't be that hard. He's the only one getting illegal formations on the Chiefs. Josh Simmons isn't getting them. Wanya Morris lining up when he filled in for Juwan Taylor last year in Week 18. Didn't get him. Jalen Moore's not getting him. Juwan Taylor's getting him. So
because Jalen Moore king on the field. So
well, that's a good point. I'd like to see Jalen Moore to see if if he'll get an illegal formation.
Let's just check. Let's just try and see.
See if it happens with him. Let's play him like 2 or 3 drives in a row just to see, just for S's and G's, see if he gets an illegal formation or not. Let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? He gets an illegal formation. Oh no. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Continue rolling more zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in the show. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. Learn funniest best with Mick Schaefer. A lot of texts and phone calls in the first couple of hours of the show. 913-912-4810. We've talked and broke down this game a lot of different ways for the Chiefs, and they get ready for the Ravens coming up on Sunday afternoon. We talked with Field Yates about the Chargers being 3-0 right now with wins against the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos. One at home, one on the road, one in Brazil. So they've taken care of all three sites, neutral site, home, and road. They are 3-0 in the AFC West. The Texans are 0-3, and they've got some offensive line issues.
Got a quarterback issue with, I think, the yips right now is what it looks like.
Yeah, that looks rough because they're 0-3. They were heavy favorites in the South. The Colts are 3-0, and the Colts look like they're not just fluky through 3 weeks. Are they going to be one of the best teams in the AFC? We'll find out. But they don't look like it's some random, they're finding crazy ways to win a game and a ball bounces a certain way. Like, they are dominant, and offensively they're putting up some dominant performances. They finally punted in game number 3, so that's something to look at in the South with the Indianapolis Colts.
They have the highest point differential in the entire NFL. They're plus 47 in 3 games.
That's pretty good.
They're averaging their average margin of victory over 15 points a game.
That's pretty good if you're into that sort of thing. They beat the Miami Dolphins by 25. They beat the Broncos by 1, getting the second kick. And they beat the Titans on the road by 21. Now, you take care of business with the teams that you're supposed to play, or teams that are in front of you, so we'll see. They go to the Rams next week. That's the ultimate test to this point for the Colts.
Because the Rams look good. The Rams, the NFC West
Rams had
right now.
a double-digit lead in the second half against the Eagles. They ended up losing that game, but the Rams had that one. They were controlling that game in the second half, and then the Eagles sort of turned it on.
Jalen Hurts. This is why I've talked about Jalen Hurts many a time, and part of my reasoning for why I think he's a better quarterback than he gets credit for is they don't ask him to do much, and people are like, well, because he can't. And then when they needed him to do a lot in that fourth quarter, what did he do? He was great.
He got it done, yeah.
And so that's kind of been my pushback on when people try and discredit what Jalen Hurts does. They don't ask him to do a lot because that team is great. But when they need him, he delivers. But that NFC West, just in general right now, is phenomenal. Even with the injuries and all that stuff, the Seahawks have been much better than I expected. They have the second best point differential in football, I believe, right now.
Yeah.
Even without Brock Purdy, the Niners look more or less like the Niners team we thought they were going to be. Then last year happened, and we thought, oh, they're toast. They don't look toast, even with the plethora of former Chiefs cast-off wide receivers that they're rolling out there at this moment.
They've been Chiefsy this year in that they beat Seattle by 4 points. They go to New Orleans and win by 5, and then they beat the Arizona Cardinals by 1, in which Arizona got the safety and the ball back with, a few minutes to play?
Yep.
Could have iced that thing up by 2.
Yeah.
They end up punting back to the 49ers, and the 49ers go down there and kick a field goal. So good on them. But they have been living dangerously, the 49ers. I mean, they're a couple of plays away from being 0-3. 3-0, 0-3. But
they'll get Brandon Ayuk back, and Ricky Pearsall looks to be like a legit wide receiver. McCaffrey has not been great on the ground, but it was good through the air. Arizona, my thoughts there. They always start off strong and then fizzle out. So we'll see what happens going forward. No James Conner, but Trey Benson looks to be a legit NFL running back. Yeah, no, the NFC West to me has been they've been what I thought they were going to be last year. And this year they finally have delivered on that promise. I don't know what the worst division has been. Probably the AFC East. It's the Bills, and then
nobody else.
I mean, the other 3 teams look atrocious. The Patriots look okay.
Except for their continually fumbling the football.
That part's weird for a team that
Drake
should be and needs to be.
Turnovers, Ramondre Stevenson, 2 fumbles, Gibson a fumble. Like 2 different turnovers inside the 5-yard line. I mean, how do you expect to win a game? And they didn't win that game. But, I mean, yeah, could they be 2-1? Certainly. But they are a team that puts the ball on the ground. And if you have the reputation of a team that puts the ball on the ground and you do that, then that isn't something where you go, you're just unlucky in that game. No, it's what you're doing. It's what you've been doing. Ramondre Stevenson is a fumbler, and he fumbled twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Gibson's put the ball on the ground.
He had a great post-game comment, by the way.
Stevenson?
Yeah, after the fumbles. I forget the exact verbatim of what it was, but it was
What did he say? What did you expect of me?
No, it was along the lines of, you're a very valuable running back to this team, and when he goes, well, I'm not valuable if I can't hold the football.
Well, that's good.
And he's
self-aware.
It was basically along the lines of like, no, it doesn't matter what I do. If I fumble, I could go, have a 40-yard run then fumble. Means nothing because I fumbled. The 40 yards doesn't matter. And I thought it was really self-aware and really intriguing. Apparently, he tried carrying a heavier football all offseason long to try and work on making sure he was tight with it.
Interesting.
And has not worked. So I at least respect a guy who's trying his darndest. He knows what he's doing wrong. He just can't fix it.
But he's been doing it wrong throughout his career.
And he can't fix it. It's just tough.
They need to go the route of the program and Darnell Jefferson. Put the ball in his hands, and everywhere he goes on campus, people are going to try to knock it out of his hands and recover the fumble.
Yeah.
And you damn sure better not let somebody come back here and give this football to me besides you. You better be the one every day that's showing up with that football in your hands. Everywhere you go, you carry that football, and if somebody takes it from you, then we're going to have an issue. So it's just the same thing.
We
just
should.
like Darnell Jefferson.
That would be fun. Next intern. It's not.
Right?
It's not hazing. It's building. We're building them. We're not hazing them. We're building them.
Ball security and job security. Same thing.
I think maybe next.
Hold on to the ball. Hold on to a job.
Next
That's what
intern.
I have neither.
Next. Well, you have no ball.
You don't have ball security? You fumble the football?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know what was that in. Were you a wide receiver, running back?
I was nothing. I didn't play
fullback?
football.
Okay, very good. But backyard football, you would fumble all the time.
Yes.
Constantly fumbling in backyard
Shouldn't
football.
have had that popcorn.
That's probably what it is. Butterfingers is what it is. Colts are 3-0. Jacksonville takes care of business with the Houston Texans, although it looked like, they tried to give it away a couple of times too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the NFC North AFC North is going to be interesting if Baltimore does not win tonight. If Baltimore loses and they're sitting 1-2, they're only a game behind the Bengals and a game behind the Steelers. I still think they're the best team in the North.
I think by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the Bengals are going to be thinking about what if this season, if Jake Browning continues to look like that in a game against the Vikings.
Horrible.
Losing 48-10, 2 defensive touchdowns by Rodgers.
Who, by the way, the Vikings also had a backup quarterback in. Carson Wentz.
They had Carson Wentz, yeah. Jake Browning, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He now has, since filling in for Joe Burrow, 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yikes.
We said this last week. He's going to put the ball in your hands. He's going to give you a chance. He throws interceptions. What he does. He threw 3 of them, filling in for Burrow.
And you get the Broncos. If you're Cincy, you have the Broncos and Denver, then the Lions, then at Packers. I mean,
2 and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about, can you just stay afloat? Can you just be somewhere around 500 when Joe Burrow comes back?
How long is his
can you?
absence supposed to be?
3 months from surgery that he had on Friday. So they had to wait for the swelling to go down before he got in there and did surgery.
So you're thinking December.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're
looking at,
and then you get him back for Ravens at Bills against the Ravens again. Man,
that's if you get him back in November. It's probably going to be closer to like the December 21st when they head to Miami. So if you don't have him for Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore in a 3-week span, that's going to be difficult. They've got, as you mentioned, at Denver, Detroit, at Green Bay. The next 3 weeks they could be 2 and 4, and then 3 home games for the bye against Pittsburgh, the Jets, and the Bears. Can they win 2 of those? Go 2 and 1 in that stretch, and then be 3 and 4?
You look at this, and this is one of the few times
3 and 5,
you'll hear me feel bad for Bengals fans. I mean, they bring it on themselves. But is this 50% of the time Joe Burrow does not play a full season, or at least even near a full season? What's this, the third
Every other year.
Every other year, right?
Yeah, every other year he plays, he gets hurt.
And it's not like he's
starting with his rookie year, unfortunately.
It's not like he's a guy who goes out and brings on it's not Josh Allen a lot of times initiating contact.
The ACL tear, nothing you could do about that. But then you have the wrist injury, which was just, it looks completely benign in the play. Gets tackles, falls to the ground, and then his wrist, he can't throw the football anymore. And then this one, the turf toe, which sucks. I mean, you get tackled the wrong way, it's turf toe. But it's different things for Joe Burrow affecting him. He had the calf that he started off a couple of years ago with.
Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
And that was the season where he hurt his wrist. So you have that one. And again, the ACL, he just gets tackled. The guy goes low, hits his knee, he falls backwards on it. It sucks. You're in the pocket, you're a quarterback. Those things are unfortunate. But like a wrist injury, a turf toe, it starts to add up. And this is where a sack being a quarterback stat, how much of it is a quarterback stat and how much of it is an offensive line stat? The offensive line hasn't been great for Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow does hold on to the football a little bit longer. He does take more sacks than other quarterbacks. We talked about that last week, that Joe Burrow is willing to take a sack instead of throwing the ball and putting it in harm's way, where Jake Browning is less willing to take a sack and is more willing to throw the ball and put it in harm's way. It can result in a big play. It can also result in an interception. And he's done that 5 times, where Joe Burrow might have taken a sack here or there.
Yeah, Burrow went 10, 16, 16, 10, 17, 2 this year. So 50% of the time, he's giving you 10 games at most, and that's just...
Again, I've said get to 10 wins and you're in the playoffs. And the Bengals are going to have to find a way to not have 8 losses by the time Joe Burrow returns. And that schedule includes at Denver, at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh, at Baltimore, at Buffalo versus Baltimore. That's 6 games that they have to find a way to win with Jake Browning and a porous defense. Or 6 games they have to find a way to not lose all of them, because that would put them at 7 losses. You lose another one along the way, now you've got 8 losses already. Now the best you can be is 9-8. Lose another one and you're 8-9, and you're not getting in.
Didn't get in.
You get to 10 wins. Every single team in a 17-game season that has won 10 games has made the playoffs, except for one. Only one team gets 10 wins, you're in. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up next. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Here from Andy Reid, weighing in on the status this week of Xavier Worthy, the running game, and also, Josh Simmons left the game for a little bit there at the end for Jalen Moore coming in. So we'll get to the bottom of that as well. We got Learn Funniest Best coming up as well in the 1 o'clock hour on this Victory Monday for the Kansas City Chiefs, winning 22-9. And we'll hear from Andy Reid on the other side along with Mick Schaefer. One more hour to go on a Monday tonight. Detroit and Baltimore, a little Monday Night Football. We'll see what happens in that one right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. More Zone next.
Mick Schaefer on the Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Hanging out with Mick Schaefer at the final hour of this Monday edition presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, and state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. We will hear from Andy Reid in just a little bit, but there is breaking news in the college basketball world. And that is that Bruce Pearl is...
Wait, breaking news sounder. We got to teach him.
Sorry, breaking news sounder in the college basketball world.
So anytime we say breaking news, there's a breaking news sounder. We have to hit it, Darcy. It's like
we can,
FCC actually regulates it. So we will wait until you find it. We will.
We aren't actually allowed to talk.
This might take a while.
Yes.
Here we go.
Bruce Pearl is retiring as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. His son, Stephen Pearl, is taking over as the head coach. And with the coaching move, the 30-day transfer portal window for Auburn will open tomorrow.
They were the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament last year. They made it to a Final Four, and he goes, yeah, I'm going to hang it up.
I'm done. This is the time. You know what?
I'm going to go out semi on top.
Got to hand it to my son. Got to hand it over there to him. Got to hand it to him.
Hand it to little Pearl Snap.
That's right, little Pearl. All right, let's hear from... Andy Reid, as Mick Schaefer's hanging out with us. Mick, you heard Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the different players last night on the post-game show.
Yeah.
With you and Matt Derrick and all of the fine folks over there.
This morning.
Yeah, that's true. Here's Andy Reid. Here's his opening statement today as they are back in KC after the win over the Giants.
I don't have any injury updates for you. I think we came out of the game pretty clean in that area. Be some good things we can learn from this game. It was great to obviously get the win, but there's some things we can take out of this, and they'll help us down the road. I like the effort from the guys, in particular, on the offensive side from the second half was more productive that way. I thought defensively we played another very solid football game, and the turnovers were beautiful. We need to keep that coming. That's a real plus when you can get those. And then offensively, I thought just that second quarter was not very good football, and we've got to make sure that we correct that as coaches and players in that area. So. We've got to make sure we're putting them in the right position to make plays, and then when given an opportunity, that we've got to make sure we do the right thing. So, but we came out the second half and put some things together. I like the way guys stuck together and worked hard. I think the question came up yesterday about Travis and the intensity and all that, and. Is he frustrated or not frustrated? Well, he's seen how the offense works, and so when things aren't going the right way, he's very aware of that. He's a pretty smart guy, and he's been doing it longer than anybody else on this team has been doing it. So he wants to make sure that he gets that point across to the guys, and so he does that, and I'm okay with that part. And he knows also, like the coaches know, where we can go with this too, and the growth that we can have here, and we need to take care of business in that area. And then special teams wise, we can do, Bud had a couple, he was off on a couple, but that's he'll get all that corrected. So, and Ariza had another pretty good day.
Well, both of them did. Yeah. So there you go, Andy Reid talking about. And the question I would have when it comes to Travis Kelce is, what's the balance between benefit and abrasive, to where it's like, okay, hey, I mean, if anybody on the sideline is like, all right, well, Travis is doing his Travis thing again. Here we go. I know there's frustration certainly from him, And last week, it was frustration from him to Andy Reid. This week, it was Andy Reid to him. Andy Reid gave him the bump,
Giving him the business.
That's right.
Holmes gave him the business on that one incompletion.
Right. He was not happy with whatever he was doing and walked over right to him, that whatever was supposed to be happening did not happen. And then I also thought that, some of it is also trying to force to get him going, too. On a 2nd down and 10, there was a wide-open run lane up the middle, and it was clearly an RPO because Creed Humphrey was going to the second level, so luckily it was not an illegal man downfield. So they're blocking. Creed Humphrey is getting to the linebacker. It's a fake handoff to Pacheco to the right side off Trey Smith, and there's nobody there. I mean, it's just so wide open, and Creed Humphrey's already getting the linebacker at the next level. It's like, 10 yards of just open green grass, and Mahomes pulls it, and then he throws that ball down the line to Kelsey. That was a 2-yard loss way down the near sideline. When you got two guys out there, and he's got to break it, I think that was just trying to force it. Okay, we got Kelsey out there, got one-on-one with the blocker. I'm going to put the ball in his hands, and he's going to create 5-6 yards or something. And instead, it was a 2-yard loss. And that 3rd down was incomplete. And then that's when Kelsey came off the field, and Andy Reid and him, started going at it to a degree. So there's certainly frustration with what we've seen offensively, and how much is that boiling over to then holding guys accountable, playing at a higher level, or just complaining for the sake of complaining, or it's not the same as it used to be.
Well, I mean, look, it's football, and they rely on emotion. And it's the highest level.
Yeah,
that stuff happens all the time. They've just never let it out before, right?
Yeah. And he has a camera on him.
Instances over the years have we seen that.
True.
A lot of it was them barking back and forth with Eric Bieniemy, right?
That's a good point. Now it's Andy. It was always Eric. Yes. Why isn't Matt Nagy getting some of the
their best friend? Right? And we famously saw Mahomes once with the refs, but that's about it over the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And now we see it multiple times every game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a guy realizing he's in his last year. Maybe it's the losing, and that matters that much. So we're like, okay, we played this style for a couple years now, but we found ways to win it at the end. Now we're not doing that, and things are boiling over. But we haven't seen that.
The conversation with Andy Reid continued. Jesse Newell asked Andy Reid about the status of Xavier Worthy.
Hey, Andy, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about Xavier after you guys ruled him out on Saturday. I just wondered his outlook, week to week for you guys now.
Yeah, so he was real positive coming in, and he was, mentally he was saying, I'm going to play in the game, which you've got to kind of take that approach with that type of an injury, and he did. I mean, he came out and he practiced and did the best he could, but it just wasn't right. And so between Xavier and the doctors and so on, we thought it was best if he didn't play.
We'll go next to Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Hi, Herbie.
Sticking with the wide receiver questions, you should be able to get Rashee Rice back this week. What are you expecting out of him, and how excited is that for you to have him back in the building? And then second, Jalen Royals didn't play last night. What went into that decision?
Sure. Well, Jalen just came back, so I had him there as kind of emergency in case we absolutely needed him. But his first week of practice in a month was last week, and he's a rookie and so on. So this was really his first game of suiting up, and I mean, you can figure out the rest of it. But he'll continue to work in there. It's great to have him back. It's great to have him back. So, and then we do get 4 back, and I know the guys will be fired up about that to see him. He can't practice, he can't be on the field, but he can do the other stuff. And just having him around, he's a good positive energy to have around.
So Jalen Royals, interesting, says he was an emergency. So break in case of emergency last night.
Makes sense.
Practice for the first time in a month last week, as we said. Like the Jalen Royals practicing, last week or the week before, whenever it was him going out there and practicing. It was like the first time since he's practiced since preseason game 3.
Last week was. Last week was. He was in an LP.
It makes sense that, emergency, if you needed him, didn't need him, so he doesn't have to play. And Rashee Rice is allowed back in the building. once you are halfway through your suspension, so he's halfway through. So the final 3 weeks, he can be in the building, he can go to meetings, he cannot practice, he cannot play, but you can now work out, have contact with the coaches, where the second he was suspended until halfway through, no contact, no texts, can't be at the facility or anything like that. Now he's back. So, as he said, the guys are fired up to see him. Soren Petro asked Andy Reid about the running game after this win against the Giants.
Coach, just can you give us an update on where you think you got with the running game, and what you think? I know it was better, but they had really had some trouble stopping the run. And did you think maybe you left some yards out there in that game?
Yeah, sir. And first of all, that defensive line I think is special. That's a good group. They started going against the Cowboys. They started doing their penny front, which is they put 5D linemen in there. And so they started off doing that with us, and for our guys to be able to run the ball, normally running against us, that's a tough haul. But our guys did a pretty good job with it. I was proud of Pop and Kareem. They put together, a good day. We didn't have the big explosive runs, but we had that 5-yard run and a couple 7-yard runs that were positive. And it was our best rush day against a good D line. So I like the way we matched up with them. I thought the big guys played well up front for the most part in the run and the pass game. So that can help us down the road. But the run, to answer your question, the run was better. Did we leave something on the field with it? Well, could I have called more? I probably could have called more if that's what that means. Yeah.
And then just a follow-up, how much did the Giants kind of spy on Pat? Maybe he'd been so effective running the ball, and is that something you think you're going to see more of moving forward?
Yeah, they did a little bit, but that's with 51, they had a little thing with him there, and he's a heck of a player, by the way. He's going to be tremendous for this league. But yeah, I mean, they can do that. That's okay. He's one of their better pass rushers, so I wouldn't spy him too much.
Yeah.
Is he giving the Giants DC unsolicited advice there? Hey, he's too good to be a spy.
What are you guys doing?
Should rush him.
Thank you for spying with him for Patrick. He's one of your better pass rushers, and you just had him sitting back waiting for Patrick to run. Thanks, guy.
It felt like Patrick was spying Abdul Carter as well. When he was not mic'd up, but the Parab caught him that one time saying, 51's coming, 51's coming.
51 right there, 51 coming.
3 straight plays, and one of them was a run play, and I was like, oh, you dog, look at you trying to play a little.
Same thing. Yeah,
I liked it.
Pass.
Let's Omaha this thing.
That whole drive, it was like Pat telling the other 21 guys on the field what they were doing.
Yes.
Here's what these 11 guys over here are doing. Hey, our 10, you do this, this, and this, and we're going to finally go.
I want Pat one time to walk up to the line of scrimmage, get ready to check, and go, really, guys, this is it? That's what you get?
He might have at some point.
48's coming.
Yeah, well, Cam Newton did that. Remember Cam Newton?
I do remember Cam
Newton. I remember Cam Newton, but I don't remember.
You guys remember that one when he goes, I think it was Cam.
I watched film too. Is that the one? Is that what he said?
Yeah, that was the Cam Newton.
Yeah,
I watched film too. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, how about this one? And then he ended up scoring a touchdown on it. That was great.
It's pretty good. I just one time just walk up and like, really, this is what you.
Cam got passed by Patrick last night, right? Yeah. In career yardage.
Yes. All right. So they continued one more as Andy Reid's Monday press conference wrapping up. Matt Derrick. You know what? Matt Derrick taking a little bit of homework, or what do they call it? Housekeeping. Matt Derrick's doing the housekeeping. He's actually going to say it right here.
Hey, Coach, one quick housekeeping question, and I'll have a second question. But Josh Simmons came out, Jalen Moore came in on those last 2 drives. Assuming that's not injury related, was that just an opportunity to get Jalen some snaps?
Yeah, just to get him in and get some reps there. Yeah.
And Spags used a lot of split safeties yesterday and kind of splitting the field a little bit. And compared to what those Giants receivers and Russell Wilson were able to do last week, I mean, how effective was that game plan, and how proud were you of the guys being able to execute that?
Yeah, I was very proud of them. I thought defensively we played well. Spags had a great game plan for him. Russell's had some big days against us, and to be able to hold him where we did, I thought was a plus. We negated some of those long balls that he had been hitting, and thought that was a big thing going into the game. So, but I thought Spags' his plan was spot on for him, in both the run and the pass game.
So there you go, Andy Reid. A couple things there. The split safety. The Chiefs had split safety 79% of the dropbacks against the Giants, which is the highest rate by any team this season in a game.
Is that cover 2? Are we calling that? What do we call
safeties deep and back? Yeah, and they generated 41% pressure rate. Russell Wilson was 0 for 5 with an interception on deep passes in the split safety coverage. So Spags in his bags there.
He's such a bad quarterback. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he's so bad.
Yeah. He needs to play more games against the Cowboys.
Against the Chiefs.
Yeah. Jalen Moore and Joshua Simmons. Matt Derrick asking the question about, Jalen Moore came in for those last 2 series. Is that, injury or whatever? Or is that him just getting some reps? And Andy Reid said, yeah, just to get him some reps in there. I feel like that's the wrong side of the line. If you were going to have him come in and get some reps, is this the chestnut checkers where Andy Reid puts Jalen Moore in for Josh Simmons to get some reps because, well, Juwan, you're not going to be playing as much moving forward if you keep having penalties. But we're going to get Jalen Moore some reps, and it's going to be with Josh Simmons coming off the sideline. Like, I don't know what the hell you're putting him in there for Josh Simmons instead of Juwan Taylor.
There's zero accountability for Juwan Taylor is the answer. 3 years of this. And before you could make the argument of, okay, once the ball snapped, and there's not a flag in the air, he does a pretty good job at right tackle. He was horrible last night at right tackle.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Nagy said there's going to be accountability, and he knows he can't do that anymore.
Well,
he said he knows
Andy Reid
he
teams are always. How about the flag? Have you talked about the flag on Kareem Hunt after the touchdown that cost him a point?
Yeah.
Right,
I don't know
doing
that he,
a gesture you
should
know you're not supposed to do.
But I don't know that he did that. I to me, like when they showed it, it looked like he was almost like doing the Cam Newton, like it was both hands at the same time, like almost opening up his shirt.
Well, if
he did it, it's dumb.
Well, I just took it as okay. That wasn't. He did it some other time during the celebration.
Yeah, could have been
before or after they showed that replay.
Yeah. I'm not sure either, but yes, that's dumb if he did that.
Get out of your own way. I swear.
Absolutely.
Just do a TikTok dance, apparently, and you'll be fine. Just do the gritty thing.
Do whatever. Absolutely.
You won't get fined.
You can do those. You can do those things.
I would have guessed Jalen Moore was going to come in last night for a tackle, but I would be no more surprised than if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet that it was for the left tackle.
I mean, just like to your point,
that would hurt.
In years past,
it's a line from Fletch Lives.
Yeah. Or it's a Christmas Vacation.
It's a line from Christmas Vacation.
You surprised Clark?
Yeah.
You surprised Clark?
It was
Eddie
Chase.
It was Chevy Chase though. So last couple of years, to your point, Mick, that it would be, hey, when he's not committing penalties, he's fine. Okay. But also the last couple of years, it was, Soren likes to say, if not him, then who? It's like bench Juwan Taylor. Okay, for who?
You brought this guy.
Now,
and we
you
were
actually have an answer.
That he was running at right tackle when he came in training camp.
Yeah, now you actually have an answer. So if it's like last year, like, okay, you're going to put in Wanya Morris for him. Okay, the year before, okay, you're going to put in Wanya Morris for him. Like, you're already dealing with left guard and left tackle issues last year. Now you're going to take out Juwan Taylor and exacerbate the problem even more. So who are you going to put in for him? You just went and signed Jalen Moore to $30 million for 2 years. I think you have an answer of who you can put in for him for the first time since Juwan Taylor's been here, that you can actually bench him with somebody you feel like should be able to hold their own. So if there's ever going to be accountability, it would be this year with this guy since, one, as you said, well, if he's not committing penalties, he's fine. Not this year. He's not fine while not committing penalties. And, well, who can you put in there in his place? Jalen Moore. You have answers to both of those.
And maybe the chestnut checkers is going on here in that, like, Andy Reid and the coaching staff is leaning into, well, they're not going to call it every play. Because the very next play, he might have been farther back.
Yeah, I tweeted the same thing. Like, he was further back there. So either call it every time or don't call it. Because if you call it every time, it benefits the Chiefs. Because either Juwan Taylor adjusts and doesn't do it anymore, or he gets benched. Either way, it's better for the Chiefs than just randomly calling it from time to time when you don't know when it's going to be called.
I mean, it's like DBs. Like, it's why they're always. I mean, they're not going to throw flag every time. How there was not DPI on the Tyquan Thornton catch is beyond me. Again, head sewn to the carpet. But, I mean, so maybe that's it. Like, okay, we'll put up with a couple of these a game. They're going to throw them, but they're not going to throw it 8 times. And that little extra foot, right, matters a lot. And, yes, they're not going to call him going early every time as well. That gets him back there. We'll deal with the damage of the few penalties a game for the other 50 snaps where they're letting it go, and he's able to do his job better.
Yeah, you're playing the Ravens this weekend. Early on, if he's getting beat or lining up illegal formation or false start, he's got to come out of the game.
No, he does. He's not going to come out of the game.
I'm saying he's got to. I'm not saying he's going to.
Well, I mean, what's the difference between this game and last year and 2023? Why is now?
Because you didn't have an answer to if you take him out, you're putting in Wanya Morris
last night. I'm just saying. I agree.
I know.
He should be out,
right?
But he's not going to.
Yeah, it's.
They will keep him there.
It's 3 games.
What will
it
take?
Huh?
What will it take?
An injury to Taylor.
They've benched him already. They benched him 2 years ago in week 2 or
against
3.
The Jags.
Against the Jags. They benched him. And then they benched him another game where they started the second half without him because he had picked up some penalties. I just – maybe I'm too naive in thinking that if he continues to do this, now that they have an answer that Jalen Moore can come in and play.
When Andy Reid says we've got to clean that up.
Yeah, I know.
It means
What's on him?
We're doing nothing.
It's on Andy.
We're doing nothing.
Well, that's on me. I could have put Juwan Taylor in a better position. I could have not called
What
an
does that
offensive
mean?
play.
What does that mean aside from move on to the next question?
I could have called something different there. I could have had Pat take a knee. I could have called something different to where Juwan Taylor isn't in that particular spot. I did. When he was asked by Sarin about the run game, he's like, "Yeah, it was better." I mean, did we leave things out there? Could I have called more? Yeah, I could have called
It's
more.
so funny. Chiefs Twitter went from last week. Why are we running every first down? To last night. Why aren't they running?
Why aren't they
We're
running
on
the
first
ball?
down.
I mean, opponent does matter when you're facing the worst run defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Versus the Eagles, I would say you should run more against the Giants,
especially when you were having success doing it too. That's the other thing is it was successful. Like Pacheco was actually picking up yards, and there was a success rate to it. Like it was just it's not surprising at all. Cajunson in the meme last week, as we said, it was from Princess Bride, said the Chiefs didn't run the ball well. The Giants can't stop the run, so only a great fool would refuse to run the ball. However, New York knows Andy Reid is not a great fool, thus expecting KC to run amok. But Reid, knowing the Giants are expecting the run, will throw the ball 50 times for 187 yards and 3 interceptions.
Well done.
That's not what happened with the 187 yards and 3 interceptions, but it is what happened on the first 2 drives, 21 plays. They handed the ball off to Kareem Hunt 3 times.
I cannot trust. Drink the cup in front of me. Vizzini.
Pretty good. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We got Learn Funniest Best from the weekend coming up next. All right, we'll continue on this Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, heading up until 2 o'clock. So we're in Petro. Takes you until 6. We got best of, and then Monday Night Football pregame 6:45 with kickoff 7:15. The Lions visiting the Ravens. Time for a little Learn Funniest Best.
Which, by the way, LFB is presented by Cutwater. Real cocktails, perfectly mixed. Create your ritual before your favorite college football game and every Kansas City football game. I got some right in front of me right now. Mick and I crushed some. Was that last Friday? 2 Fridays ago? We had a little Cutwater, a little lime margarita, 12.5% in a can. Delicious. I like to think nutritious.
We didn't share the can. We had 2 cups.
We had 2 cups.
Yeah.
2 cups, 1 drink.
Nice job there. Learn Funniest Best. We'll go around. I'm just moving past it. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, best from the weekend. So I learned this from the weekend based on my son's observation. And now, because I learned this, I actually want to do a deeper dive and learn more. The Allstate commercial with Charles Woodson, where the guy steals the cotton candy from the kid, and he's like, "I shouldn't have. I should have looked at the jumbotron to see that was being videoed." And he steals the cotton candy and eats it. It's at a Michigan game, and it shows Charles Woodson doing like the horseshoe down, right? And my son is like, "Was that a Missouri fan? Is it Michigan playing Missouri?" And I'm like, "Well, no, the letter M." He's like, "No." He was like, "There was a Missouri shirt in there." I'm like, I don't know. Rewound it. And the row right behind the guy that steals the cotton candy is wearing a shirt with Truman the Tiger and a hat with the M on it. And I'm like, so did they not realize that it's just, that's not the same school just because the M sort of looks like it?
Probably not.
And now I want to know if an extra snuck that in there without them thinking that that's a Missouri shirt and not a Michigan shirt, because it doesn't say, it's just Truman the Tiger with the hat on with the M. I want to learn more to see if, like, was that a Missouri fan that snuck that in the commercial because it looked like Michigan?
No,
So
there's not Missouri. There's hardly any Missouri fans, first of all. Second of all, they ordered that stuff, but it was just a dumb intern ordering the wrong stuff. That's what happened.
Probably, yeah.
So
I like to think there was a crazy, like the Washington State flag
Missouri
person.
fan out there.
I'm going to sneak it in.
I would. You learned, and you're still learning, and you want to learn more.
Exactly.
About it.
Now I want to figure out how
Update
that
us
got
next
in.
Monday.
Yeah,
Once you learn
I'm
more.
gonna put my son on that one. That's your homework assignment this week. But Dad, I got a lot of homework. Well, then I got more. So you know what? Now you just pulled landscaping duty. Now your back's gonna hurt. So anybody else's
Maybe at
fingers
some
hurt?
point the Wolverines had a tiger mascot because they have, like Auburn War Eagle.
Truman the Wolverine.
Could be.
What did you learn from the weekend, Sterling?
I learned that even NBC knows that Jawan Taylor is going to false
They had
start
that ready
or
to go,
line
didn't
up incorrectly, because right when he had it, Chris Collinsworth goes, "Now, all right, now here's a guy who lines up illegally, and we're going to show you on the screen." NBC was ready to go. They knew he was going to do it, and they had it. In pre-production, the meeting, they go, "All right, so the Chiefs are playing. What does that mean, everyone? Get the graphic ready. They're gonna line up illegally."
And they'll use about 10% of the graphics they make. They are ready for any and all options, and they're not going to force anything in there. So they probably had everything ready to go.
Yeah, they're like, so here's what a hold is. Here's what a false start is. Here's what a bad rep looks like. And it was all for Jawan. It was weird.
It's crazy.
Oh, I just love that they had it available, ready to go. We'll see if they have anything ready to go for any other team that maybe lines up in an illegal formation with specific plays. Who knows? What'd you learn from this weekend?
I learned that like most people are blind.
What?
People thought that the nodding affirmative meme guy was Zach Galifianakis and not Robert Redford.
People really thought that was Zach Galifianakis?
Everybody responded. I thought that was Zach Galifianakis.
I think people are lying. I think people want to do that because that makes them sound funny and edgy.
I thought it was Zach Galifianakis.
Thank you.
That is my
He's
bad.
blind.
Poor guy.
It looks.
I mean, you could tell. I mean,
That's
Robert
not-
Redford's one of the best-looking humans who's ever existed. Zach is not that. Even through a beard, you should be able to tell. Darcy.
That's my bad.
And couldn't you tell like that was from a movie in the 70s?
Yes, like when
before
has
Zach was born?
Galifianakis been in the 1970s films?
I didn't know if that was like a Between the Two Ferns.
Sure, it was like treated
cut.
video.
That's
Could've
right.
been.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I always thought people just said that because they thought, oh, it kind of looks like Galifianakis. I'm going to be funny with it. I didn't think people actually believed
And I get it. I'm old, but I've never seen that movie.
I'm not that
It was
old.
Justice,
I've never seen
what
that
was it?
movie, and I never.
Something Justice. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I could tell like that's Robert Redford just with a beard.
I could tell you who it's not.
Not Zach
Galifianakis. Yeah, I didn't realize so many people. I saw that as well. I didn't realize so many people were like, "That's not Zach Galifianakis." Like, no, that's a very old movie. What did you learn from the weekend, Michael? Besides that,
I learned that when the Eagles block a field goal, it's talent, and when the Chiefs do it, it's luck.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good one.
That is a great point. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, what they did was showed how good they were at the get off to go and block that kick, whereas the Chiefs and planning and setting up the Broncos, that was just luck by Leo Chenal.
One used devil magic and one didn't.
That's good. One used talent, the other one used devil magic. That's a good point.
I was going to look it up, but I forgot. I'm lazy.
That's fine.
It wasn't the same guy from the Broncos. It's with the Rams now, right? The one that got blown up because it was kind of the left guard or
Oh
left
my gosh.
in that formation.
What's his name?
I don't know. Like I said, but
right.
that would be funny.
Curtis.
Get on it.
Curtis.
I think we would have heard of it by
Yeah.
now if it was the same guy.
Yeah, I think we would have been like, good God, this guy's got to be released. I mean, how do you
Or
keep
just
that
at
guy
least
around?
not play him on special teams.
How do you keep that guy around? I mean, come on. We head to the funniest from the weekend. Funniest for you, Sterling.
I got roasted at a comedy show.
Really?
Yeah, I went to go see Jared Freed, funny guy, up there in Zona Rosa.
Is that his name, Jared Freed, funny guy?
Did you know him beforehand?
Yes. Yeah, I knew him before. I think he's a funny guy, just funny dude.
But he knows you.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all. And my wife and I, we bought tickets, and we didn't
That's how
know.
it works,
It was
usually.
like $5 more for like VIP, and we're like,
that
oh,
how it
you'll
works?
be closer to the stage. That seems nice. We'll spend the extra $5 to do that.
You gotta know what you're getting into.
They sat us down. Jason.
Yep.
I am closer. You're farther away from me now than I was to the comedian.
Oh yeah, well,
It was insane. I'm here, and he's just on stage right here in front of me.
Yeah.
At the table, they sat us down, and it was just there, and he's doing a little crowd work.
Yeah, right.
Lands on me,
Oh, no.
and just talking a second.
A lot of material there.
And the way
comedians know.
Oh my God,
they could just tell.
So the mustache.
But he was asking me something, and I enunciate. I think.
Oh, really?
Fairly well. I enunciate.
Did you
Except when you say entourage?
Except when I say entourage.
And thanks.
Did you say thank you? When he was
Thank
like,
you.
hey, can I call on you?
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Oh, okay, here we go.
No, and so he was like making fun of me, like really enunciate. I'm like, that's what I do for work.
Oh,
and so we got
So
a
you
whole,
made it about
a whole
yourself,
thing.
yeah.
Of course,
So
I
it's
made
like,
it about
oh.
myself.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's what I do for work. I do a radio show. I don't know if you know
I'm
that.
on the radio.
So, by the way,
yeah, no, I talk into a
everyone,
microphone.
810, we got a lot of love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Oh, cool.
Jason. Just for you, I
Great.
said I do The Zone on Sports Radio 810, 10 to 2. Jason Anderson and myself.
How about that?
I'm gonna plug.
Oh, nobody else got mentioned?
What? Wow.
Darcy,
Darcy,
I mean, he's
I'm
here
used
every
to
day.
it. Darcy,
What did,
Mick
I'm
Schaefer,
here
Monday,
60%
Wednesday,
of the time.
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 1 to 2.
So what did the comedian say then?
I blacked out. I don't know.
He said nobody cares.
We got a loud clap about 810. He's like, you listen to
Nice.
810? Like, oh yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah, nice job. Way to be a plant. we did it. We're slowly going to win.
we're
win
gonna
people
build.
over.
This is guerrilla marketing at its finest.
what
We're
it is.
just.
I do not believe that you're like, oh no, I might be the center of attention. I don't believe that. I
I'd
don't
hate-
believe that was your reaction. Wow, I'm this close to the stage. Man, we made a terrible decision.
Oh,
wink,
I'd
wink.
hate that.
Nod, nod.
That's a great point. Oh, whoops! I thought we were in the fourth
Shoot.
row, not the first row. I knew it started with an F,
Shoot.
though.
Is that spotlight on me partly the entire time?
It's so hot. Oh my goodness.
How's my hair look?
What was the funniest for you, Mick?
Tweet sent to me last night. I sent it to you guys about like the Chiefs put together a good drive, and it was taking questions about for Sunday Sound Off for Times Yours, and Chris Webb writes, "Why can't they build the whole plane out of the locker room second half play calling black box?" So I thought of you because you're always using that line.
Why not build the whole plane out of the
Yes.
black box?
Why
you
not
know?
do that the whole
It's
time?
indestructible. Just do that, right?
Why don't you?
It's a great question. I don't know why.
Why doesn't
you know.
Andy Reid just do the second half play calling, but do it in the first half?
That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
that's
seems.
right. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
the tweet was. What was the
Maybe
funniest for you?
Maybe it was Mahomes. Maybe he just started calling plays.
That's what
That would be awesome.
No, what it was is the bad plays were Matt Nagy.
That's right.
And then Andy Reid was like,
We learned
I
that.
got it. I'll do the play calling now.
My funniest was, I don't know if you guys have seen the clip on social media, but Shaq Barrett was changing his newborn child, and
Oh,
the
yeah, I saw
newborn
that.
child had an oopsie, and he leaped
no.
from his chair.
I haven't
It was
seen it.
hilarious.
I have not seen that.
And you see the oopsie too afterward.
One or two.
Oh, it was the two.
Oh wow.
All day. It's
Explosive
what you do once every
diarrhea.
hour.
Not every hour.
Yeah, because it does depend, because sometimes the number one, you got to jump out of the way because that thing will be aiming right for you. I have not seen this.
He leapt backwards over the chair.
Oh no,
like a Saquon Barkley
like
type
a great
situation.
athlete, right? Like, how'd you do that?
Wow.
Yes.
It was like an offensive lineman. You went right around him. My funniest from the weekend was, so Michigan and Nebraska are playing, and Sharon Moore is not the head coach of Michigan because he is suspended. So they have their interim head
Was
coach.
it Michigan or was it Missouri? Could we figure it out?
Nobody really knows. But Biff Poggi, who is the interim head coach for the Michigan Wolverines.
The name, Biff?
Biff Poggi. It's a nickname for him, not his real name. I was hoping it was a real name. His real name is Francis Xavier Poggi.
I'd go by Biff.
Nicknamed Biff. And I had to look it up, too, because his nickname is Biff. His brother nicknamed him Biff because he thought his mom's nickname for him being Spike was stupid. So his mom, I guess, wanted to call him Spike, and he's like, Spike is stupid. Let's call him Biff.
I just saw this movie. It's called Back to the Future.
Yeah, so they've gone with...
He's a bully to me, and that guy's a bully.
That's right. So they went with Biff as a nickname. But Biff Poggi wins the game, and after the game on TV, being interviewed about how he feels and what the night's going to be like.
What are you going to do tonight to celebrate?
I'm going to eat some Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream with my wife and smoke a Cuban cigar, and then probably go to the hospital.
It's a great line.
It's an awesome line. Biff Poggi, apparently, crazy story, because I had to look him up at that point because everybody's like, oh, Biff Poggi's so great for football. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. So apparently, graduated from Duke. He got a loan of $25,000 to start a hedge fund. Started a hedge fund, spent the next 3 decades running this hedge fund, sold it for millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Now he's just coaching football.
And now
for
he's coaching
S's&Gs.
football and everything. He was the head coach of Charlotte for 2 years, won a total of 6 games, and now he's at Michigan as the interim head coach. But the guy was like a millionaire on millionaire, and he sold his hedge fund to former players. So I think that's an NCAA violation. I'm not sure.
Is that cigar weird?
Michigan
a Cuban
can,
cigar.
How do you say cigar is like
Michigan
cigar?
swept that on the rug.
Cuban cigar.
Cigar.
Did he say cigar?
I think he said cigar.
And smoke a Cuban cigar.
Cigar. Cuban cigar, and
Cigar.
probably go to the hospital. Great line by Biff Poggi, the interim head coach for Michigan. What was the best for you from the weekend, Mick?
Best for me is Kevin Holmes came in yesterday loud as ever.
Oh,
right?
really?
He's
Did the Bears do well?
Huh?
Did the Bears do well?
Oh, yeah. We endured that with him. But he was like, hey, I made this bet. And I can't remember the first guy to score, but then Roma Dunze was the second guy, and he scored. He's like, I need one more anytime touchdown. And we're like, who is it? He's like, Cam Scattaboo. And I'm like, well, how much you win? He goes, I will win $1,000.
Wow.
If that happens. I think he bet 70 for those 3 guys to score. And I was giving him a hard time, like, it's not going to happen, man. They never happen. Yeah. And then Scattaboo scores, and the place goes nuts. All these Chiefs fans are actually cheering for Kevin to win his bet. And naked eye, I was like, he's going to be down. I guarantee he's going to be down. And freaking Russell Wilson's going to pirate his touchdown.
Oh,
and
my God.
I was like, I bet that forearm's down. And so thankfully, and we can say thankfully because the Chiefs won.
Yeah.
Elbow wasn't down, and he cleared the goal line, and Kevin won $1,000.
Good for him. And his Bears put up a lot of good numbers.
But he's an anchor. He makes so much money, so that's
true.
like $10 to you and me.
He is doing like a touchdown parlay at $70. I mean, it's a little bit different.
Wait, wouldn't it be the opposite? Wouldn't that be like $10,000 for you or I?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
$1,000 is like 10 to him.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. The best for you from the weekend, Michael?
I think the best for the weekend was that I went was I undefeated in my picks for the
You
Meat Mitch?
are 4-0.
Whatever story.
You are 4-0 right now with the Meat Mitch picks, and you have the Lions tonight, I think. Let me look, just in case.
Either way, we hopefully should win that gift card for T-Box.
Yes,
which that's the positive.
You've already won it because Mitch is 2-2, so the best he can do is 3-2. The worst you can do is 4-1. So you've already beaten Mitch Benjamin. You've got the Lions tonight. Mitch has the Ravens, so you can go 5-0 if the Lions cover the spread.
Wait, you were only in competition with one guy?
Yeah, it was Meat Mitch beat Mitch on Wednesdays from Meat Mitch, and the barbecue is fantastic. Let's be honest, it's really the only reason we do it is bring some barbecue. It's great. So but we got a gift card for a T-Box because Michael won.
You guys shouldn't beat him so much. So like, don't take him off to where he stops bringing barbecue in. Let him win, Sterling.
Yeah,
you won't. Let him win, Jason.
No, Michael. Let him win.
I can not
I can do
win.
that.
Yes.
Right.
My best from the weekend was, so in 2006, Jacob Wilson was a small child, and threw out the first pitch to Jack Wilson at a Pirates game as a cool special moment with the family. He was like a 3-year-old or whatever. And then over the weekend, Jack Wilson threw a first pitch to Jacob Wilson, who was behind the plate for the A's. So I thought that was pretty cool because they showed both videos. They showed the video on the Jumbotron before the game of Jacob throwing the first pitch to his dad, and then his dad comes out there and throws the first pitch. That was pretty cool. What was the best for you from the weekend, Sterling?
Mizzou has outrushed their opponents by 928 yards this year. This is legit.
Jeez.
Outrushed their opponents by 928 yards this year. Of course, the best in the country. Against the 2 Power 5 opponents, South Carolina and Kansas, Mizzou has rushed for 548 yards while giving up 22 rush yards.
-9 will do that in the game.
They are 526 in the positive rush yards, the differential against the Power 4 opponents. Is that good?
It's how you win. It's how you win football games.
And somehow they've only won those games by combined 19 points.
Oh, yeah. Scoop and score will do that to you.
Almost everything else they're doing, it's still Missouri.
Stop the run. I don't know if any coaches has ever said this. Got to run the ball and stop the run.
You got to establish the run. They're establishing it. Yeah,
but you can't hurt yourself. Like, you can't beat yourself.
Sure.
The self-inflicted wounds have to stop. Like, you can't turn the ball over. You've got to be able to establish the run. You got to stop, win the line of scrimmage. Third downs are crucial, but just don't beat. If we don't beat ourselves, that team can't beat us.
You can't let the other team score more than you and expect to win the game.
Well, you can't. Yeah, you can't.
Was that who said that? That was one of my favorite ones of all time.
I think it was Chris Sims or something like that.
Yeah, it was like you can't let them score more than you and expect to win the game. It's like
you're not going to win the game if you don't go out and win it. You know what I mean? Like, if you follow, like, you can't win the game if you don't just simply go out and win it. That's true. Mizzou was 285 rushing yards. South Carolina -9. We will take a timeout, come back, wrap up the show next. All right, wrapping up the show here. Don't forget the Johnny's Tavern special, 22% off coming up. Dine-in only at Johnny's Tavern with any specialty pizza. Specialty large pizza, dine-in only, 22%
Thanks,
off.
Butker.
Could have been 26.
6. Thanks, Butker.
Yeah, could have been 26% off. Instead, it's just 22% off. But it's a dub. You know,
Still a
that
good
matters.
percent off.
Yeah.
For a damn good pizza.
Yep, absolutely. 22% off. Hey, thank you, Mick. I appreciate you coming in on your day off.
That's right. You're welcome.
Yeah,
Anytime.
absolutely. I mean, you worked this morning and you're working now.
Yeah.
So that post game past midnight, really grinding.
A gentleman and a scholar.
Something like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you on Wednesday, man.
Yes, you will. I'm
Yeah,
here. Sorry I
looking
missed
forward to
Friday, but I'm back.
You're fine.
Wednesday, as far as you know.
What, do you got your 35th coming up on Friday?
Already.
Yeah.